I also love like the names too. It's Dr. Light or Dr. Right.
Mhm.
The rock and roll side of things. It's the translations of some of these are just absolutely divine. And
It's very funny to me too, because like Cutman, what does he do? He cuts things. Okay, that checks out.
Sweet.
Elec Man, Iceman, Fireman, named after their elements. Bomb Man, okay, kind of can see it. Guts Man?
He's got guts.
He's got guts.
He's gutsy, man.
That's what he do.
Well, I mean, don't let him loose on the humans. He might have some then, and there's some terrible implications.
Just a reminder, this is a spoiler-heavy podcast. Different series that require a spoiler warning will be in the description.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Gaming Theater Podcast. Today's episode is a special episode about a brief retrospective history of the Mega Man series. Now, we're going to get started with that, and I've got some guests with us that are going to help me get through all 11 of these Mega Man games, because they ain't stopping, and I don't believe they are ever going to stop if they do it right. All right, that being said, I'm going to introduce it out, but first I'm going to start off with myself. My name is Leo. I am the Geek Scorpio, and I'll be your host this evening. And over to my right is going to be...
I am K-Bai or Kyle. Either one's fine.
All right. And over to their right is...
Hi, Adam Chizu McGuire, Mega Man fanatic.
First time talking, long time Mega Man player.
Yes, exactly.
And over to my right is going to be...
Hi, my name is DandDaine. I am a TTRPG and video game enthusiast on Twitch. I'm an award-winning GM, and I raise money for Extra Life, which is a charity that's very near and dear to my heart. Come check me out on Twitch Tuesdays and Thursdays.
All right, and that being said, let's go ahead and go on to the magical merch booth.
Whee!
Ow!
Why did I decide to take the slide in the rain?
So here we are in the magical merch booth, and my buddy Adam's here with us today. Why don't you tell us a little bit of things that you're into and what's happening with yourself, and anything people can check out.
Yeah, so I'm a radio DJ by trade for the last 15 years. You can find me at xrock.com or 100.3 The X if you're local. It's a hard rock alternative station, so if you like it gruffy and, I'm definitely there. We got our Extra Life event coming up here in the not-too-distant future. That comes, depending on when this actually airs. We got an Extra Life event coming up here where we'll be raising money for kids and playing some tunes while we're at it. So very excited for that. You can find me at twitch.tv/mcchizu, CHIZU. Don't stream nearly as much as I used to, but every so often I get to Twitch and we have some fun with it.
Oh, and that sounds like a fun time. Sometimes you just get jonesing for that. Like, I just need to...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sometimes I'm like, it's 3:00 in the morning. It's time to play some Jackbox with random people,
That's an experience to have.
Absolutely.
All right. That being said, let's go ahead and get back to the show.
Yeah. Jumping and shooting. Pew, pew, pew.
So today's episode is going to be a retrospective on the history of the Mega Man series. Mega Man has been a series that's been around for roughly over 30 plus years at this point. Surprising a lot more newer in the NES life cycle than people think, because the first Mega Man game doesn't come out until 1987. And Mega Man has a weird history as essentially as when it first started, they just wanted to literally make a platform game. And we're going to have, I don't know, this guy. We'll call him Rockman, because the original game was in Japan. Now, Capcom, coming up into the series of its history, is actually more known for arcade games than console games. In fact, so this is one of their earliest series of consoles that they wanted. They didn't even think Mega Man was going to be a hit. In fact, they didn't think about it being a hit for so much that even Rockman, when it first got launched, didn't have a whole lot of support for itself. And that's just kind of a weird thing to think about. Remember, we have a 30 plus year history,
right?
Spin-offs all over the place. And that's not even going to its own spin-off of Mega Man X, which we'll not be mentioning too much of in this episode, because this is more about the classic Mega Man. And it's gone down in the allocates of like gaming history for Mega Man. It is your jump shooting platformer, your go-to on this. But Mega Man had a rocky start, which
pun intended.
Pun intended.
I see what you did there.
Good old Guts Man. Guts Man used to be a staple of like the whole series too, which is a weird thing to think of.
Well, and you like go into it too. Cutman was initially supposed to be the original like main character design. They weren't so sure they were going to use this, blue bomber type. And so Cutman was supposed to be the guy to like cut through the bad guys. That was their initial plan. And then they decided to go like a completely different route with it, which is kind of cool to think about because he's also the most useless one in the animes, which I don't think we're touching today.
But I love that.
Like as far as like terrible anime characters, Cutman has to be like top 3.
Then it's a good thing they decided to cut that out.
Exactly.
I love how he also has the nickname of being the Blue Bomber, but there is a Bomb Man, and
Right.
also not related to Bomber Man, which is a totally different person.
A totally different guy, right?
There's a variety of Bombmans throughout the series, which we'll be touching on.
Exactly. Well, and like they came up with some other names too, because they were toying with like it was like Mighty Kid, and then I'm trying to remember if I got it right, but it's like Rainbow Battle Kid was the one of the ideas they were looking to settle on because he changes colors based on the Robot Master pieces that he picks up. Like, just name Rainbow Battle Kid, that'll go over well. And then before they ended up settling on what they settled with.
Which this is kind of a unique style because this is literally we designed the mechanics of the game before we figured out what the game was supposed to be.
Right.
But this is where we start with this, and this is where you start with their storyline, which I have to say is questionable at best, because even back in these days, you would sometimes your whole story is put in the manual. And we've talked about weird games that people don't think of having missing content, but they do. Maniac Mansion, when that first came out, there's no music for that. They just had to add it in later. Right. Then there's other things where it's literally like Sonic, that'll half the controls are their storyline is in the manual, but parts of the instructions on how to play the game are not in the manual, but also not in the game. So good luck. But in this case, almost everything's in the manual, except the manual isn't written right. Like they had in it that you could move left, right, up, and you can crouch. There's no crouching in the game at all.
Nope. Well, they didn't even add the, linear down line, like the sliding stuff, which we'll get into until later too. So like the down button was literally for ladders. That was it. And nowhere to say, hey, you can use it to go up and down a ladder, but no, you can crouch too, which is baffling to me.
I mean, to be fair, if you really want to, you can crouch in real life while you play Mega Man. And to be fair as well, many of us were actually, our bodies were jumping as we jumped into the game as well.
Is there any other way to play games?
That's what makes you jump higher, right? Because that's the way I did
it.
I needed that extra boost.
We were the Rumble feature, Bergay.
I am the Rumble feature. Now, that being said, there's always so we get into the basics of its story. Dr. Wily is the bad guy. Dr. Wily is the bad guy. You can try to convince me there's other bad guys, but Dr. Wily is the only one that will show up every time.
He is the quintessential baddie.
After that, you have Roll, which if you didn't have the manual, Roll is just there.
She exists.
Dr. Light is the scientist who actually built Rock and Roll, which there's a pun right there. But they switched his name to Mega Man when he came over to the United States. But this was they were so not working on the development so badly that they basically sent the thing over to the US, and they're like, okay, Capcom of the US, I guess we'll do this game. All right, let's translate it. What do you call it? I don't know. He's a man, but like, I guess we'll call it Mega Man. Like nobody even knows the exact origins of why we call it Mega Man. That's just there.
Well, and it was the localizer, like you were talking about. He's like, Rock Man, like this is awful. This is terrible. Like he's not a rock. I mean, he is a man, but we see that you're kind of going on the rock and roll side of things with the name. He's like, he's just mega. He's more mega than man. He's a Mega Man. It's a Mega Man.
Got to have a little bit of alliteration there.
Yeah, right. Give him the old treatment,
Little alliteration sells. And once they do that, though, like they bring it over to the United States, and as far as the legends and story goes, even from the developers, it was, we have 1 day to get all the material set up for the marketing team. Go for it. In 6 hours, they drew what we have as considered the worst cover art for any Nintendo game ever, which is the Mega Man cover art.
He looks like he's eaten way too much and needs to use the bathroom. It is like nefariously bad. He's like hunched over. He's got like an Elmer Fudd look going. Like it's like something you would see on a really bad like 80s movie, you know?
I always pictured him as weirdly described version of John Wayne.
That's fair.
Like
That's fair.
This is what I would describe to a concept artist to draw John Wayne for and hope for the best.
Well, they didn't even give him like any ideas as to like what he looked like. They didn't want it to look like the base character models. They didn't want it to look, you know, the Japanese chibi kind of vibe. Like there's apparently yellow there all of a sudden. Like it's like the color scheme is even wrong.
There's so much wrong with that one.
It's like an absolute travesty.
Meanwhile, if you go into the actual, manual, you see the official art.
Right. Do you know why they went with blue?
No, I don't know why they went with blue.
Yes, I do, in fact. In this particular case, it's because the NES had more blue colored palettes.
Yep.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
He was initially going to be white, and they're like, I don't know about that. And then as far as like what was available at the time, they were like, we've got a couple of different shades of blue. This looks pretty good. Just make him blue. Do it.
And that we've talked about that before with hardware limitations of the NES from all of our other like console war episodes for that one. See past episodes, check those ones out.
So like I was saying, Mega Man, right?
Yes, you were totally saying
that's
that.
a real thing that was happening.
Oh, was it?
The thing you got to know about Mega Man is that he's mega.
Yeah.
And a man.
It's 50%, 50%. It equals a whole dollar. It's crazy how that works.
Mm-hmm. That is literally, I think, all the design team got. His name is Mega. He is man. Literally, I think I've seen better descriptions for things for like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles theme song, which is essentially Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Turtles in a half shell. Turtle power.
Yeah, but
yeah,
I was gonna say.
Well, hold on a second. Hold on. In the Mega Man anime, though, they do say super fighting robot Mega Man. Like, exactly. Hold on a second.
That's true.
Exactly.
That's
Thank
true.
you.
Which is a little confusing when you think about the Super
weird.
Fighting Robot series of video games. That he's not in, as far as I'm aware.
Now, so within this, like that first Mega Man, that's your plot. Dr. Light built Mega Man and Roll, I guess. And
she's also there, maybe.
She's also there. And they are kind of iffy on whether or not Dr. Light or Dr. Wily built the Robot Masters, but they're there. Right. And then Dr. Wily takes over the Robot Masters. Go get him, Mega Man.
Have fun. Make friends. Fun.
Enjoy.
So I assume we're not taking into account, what they established later on, right? This is just first.
This is Mega Man 1.
Okay.
So this is all they've established.
Okay, fair. I was like,
robot's bad. You're good robot. Enjoy.
Because there's some tea, there's some backstory.
Oh yeah,
there's a whole lot of backstory. We'll get but that backstory isn't in your game right now.
But it is in my heart.
I also love like the names too. It's Dr. Light or Dr. Right.
Mm-hmm.
The rock and roll side of things is just it's the translations of some of these are just absolutely divine. And
it's very funny to me too, because like Cutman, what does he do? He cuts things. Okay, that checks out.
Sweet.
Elec Man, Iceman, Fireman, named after their elements. Bomb Man, okay, kind of can see it. Guts Man?
He's got guts.
He's got guts.
He's gutsy, man.
That's what he do.
Well, I mean, don't let him loose on the humans. He might have some then, and there's some terrible implications.
We keep him in the back.
One thing you gotta know, he's got guts.
He's got guts. He's got gusto,
And then there's the Yellow Devil.
Chutzpah Man.
I would go with Chutzpah Man.
Man. Right? I mean, I would try that guy. I just want to know, like, okay, so establishing the canon that we have now, right? There were some robots. Dr. Wily got a hold of them. Who made the Yellow Devil?
Yeah, dude.
Because it does not follow. It's not Yellow Devil Man.
Right.
No.
It's not Yellow Man. It's not Devil Man. Crybaby.
It's just the Yellow Devil.
I just like to think that like Dr. Wily was playing with some Play-Doh one day, and it just like got into like a machine, and I was like, wait a minute, this is perfect. Put him right before my main boss fight.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that they didn't even have a name for that particular robot until they actually put it up in front of playtesters, and they're like, "Oh, this thing's a devil, man."
Oh.
Yellow Devil. Whoa.
Okay.
To be fair, that thing is one of the toughest things to deal with unless you know the bug, and we'll get to that. Certain Mega Man games have weird bugs in it, or depending on which Mega Man, a feature. So when we talk about the Yellow Devil, for those who haven't actually played a Mega Man game, it's a giant yellow monster with an eye, and the eye is the only weak spot on this monster, except it teleports itself from left and right, and this guy will become a staple throughout the entirety of the Mega Man series. So if you figured out how to beat him in Mega Man 1, not so much of a problem in the Mega Man's 2 through everything else.
You just slam the start button.
They add some features here and there, but and to elaborate a little bit, it teleports piece by piece, and each piece damages you if it hits you.
Mm-hmm.
Super fun.
And it's rough. So, like I was saying before, Capcom back in these days weren't known for consoles and their things. They were known for the arcade, which is why Mega Man 1 has a score system before they realized they don't need a score system for Mega Man. It doesn't fit the vibe of this whole game.
They didn't even have a high scoreboards. Like, what was the I don't know how that got past like stage 1. Like, hey, what are these points for? I don't know, bragging rights.
And that's really kind of what it was, right? I mean, I know that I had some friends who were like, "Oh, I got like 5 billion points on level 1. Where are you at?" Like, there was definitely some like, I think bragging rights is 100%. Sure. They were like, it's like an arcade, bragging rights, you know? Like, who's gonna see it? It doesn't matter.
Don't take a picture, send it into Nintendo Power. It's not even a thing yet. Wait, that sounds great. Do that too.
Yeah. Do that too. Do that if you want to.
It's not a thing, unless.
So the nice thing about this is that this introduces a concept that most platformers at the time don't have, which is utility items. Because there is an item you can get to assist you with making, I think in Mega Man 1, it makes little bridges for yourself to cross different large gaps and things if you want to use it that way.
Unless you're a speedrunner, in which case it lets you completely break the game.
Yep.
Look, speedrunning is still a thing on that.
Folk are incredible. I much respect. Could not do it.
Yeah. I look at it and I'm like, man, I wanted to play the game, but now that I see you do it, I don't think I ever can play it again and look at myself the same.
Yeah, I don't want to backflip into a 3D barrier that lets me face through the world, that lets me teleport to the final boss. Like that. It's just a lot of work.
It's got to be frame perfect, and you have a 1% chance of it actually happening. So
I'll just go through the game normal.
Yeah, right? I'll just cry the whole time while I do it.
For sure.
And if everybody ever tells me that Mega Man's easy, I always say, nay, I guess I played the wrong one.
They're notoriously difficult. I mean, for a platformer, right?
Or in general, actually. So
explain. Speak on that.
This will be a thing that'll come up later when we get to Mega Man 9 as a revolution. But you keep in mind, this is when we are at early stages of video games as a history. We haven't gotten to that point in gaming history. We get to like From Software and Bloodborne and all the Soulsborne, where making a game hard is actually a cool thing to do.
Sure.
Well, they didn't even have the code system yet, so you had to start that game over every time you lost. I don't think they put it in until Mega Man 2 or whatever, where they did like the blue and red dots. Yeah. It's like Mega Man 1 on top of it. Like also just having like frustratingly weird stages. I'm trying to remember if it was like not Electman. Maybe it was Electman, but like the vertical stages where you had to like jump upwards were just
Electman was vertical. That you're thinking of the right one there.
Yeah. It was like, why are you doing this? Your controls, A, don't work for this kind of thing. But B, like that first frame of a Electman stage is infuriating until you can kind of figure out how to get through it.
It's not like frame perfect jumps, but it felt like it at the time.
It definitely did.
The other thing is that there's another incredible true villain in Mega Man that nobody has mentioned yet, and I'm wondering how long it's going to take for that to be mentioned.
Spikes?
No, but something similar.
The weird wall that you need Gutsman for, and it's the only thing you need Gutsman for?
Nope, something else.
Ooh.
Proto Man.
He's not here yet.
Think Iceman stage.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yoku blocks.
Yep, dude.
Yes.
Nuts.
True.
Just nuts.
That was like a game ender for so many kids.
Mm-hmm.
That's the block that would disappear, reappear, and you have to figure out that pattern, right?
And it appeared in almost every game.
Right.
Some worse than others, too.
What I will say, Mega Man is a difficult game series. I don't mean to say it's not, but I don't necessarily. Well, I mean, maybe it wasn't the intent in a lot of these, but like putting it up against, say, Ninja Gaiden
Sure.
or
Yeah.
some of these other titles, I wouldn't rank it as the hardest of its field, right? It is difficult. And
Oh yeah.
It's
God.
no Battletoads, you know?
Yeah.
right, sure, yeah. Or even like Super Mario, right? Which is a platformer in kind of the same vein. I would say much easier Super Mario than Mega Man, right? So I don't necessarily feel like it is a difficult game, but when I think of difficult platforming games, it's not even like top 5 for me, probably. I don't know if that makes sense, but
No, I got you.
No, it makes sense. And by its nature, it was never meant to be.
yeah.
So if you got at this point have gotten through the Mega Man, it introduces what's basically the Mega Man formula. First, you fight all the bosses, then you end up having to go into Wily's castle, which is a castle or castle equivalent.
Incredible
Then
that he
you go-
has a castle. I
Yeah.
mean, on a scientist budget, I'm just saying.
Well, and every time, too, because we typically
Yeah.
destroy that thing from the ground up. You
Yeah.
know?
Oh yeah.
A fortress
Remarkable.
with giant skulls
Right.
all the time.
Big old throats
his
and
insurance,
skulls.
incredible. Let's be honest.
Great insurance.
He's got
Mega Man
tenure.
insurance.
That's his real problem. But so he builds these. So you get to Wily's castle. Now the game decided element was this: every stage in for any of those bosses can be beaten without needing their powers. However, once you get to the castle, the game, the developers know you at this point. In order to get there, you've beaten all the bosses. So now the game's mechanics have changed, where you have to start using some of those abilities because now they know that you have them all. So when I was mentioning like Gutsman, where there's a secret item that you can get, but to get that you have to use Gutsman's powers to huck rocks at things and get in there. In Wily's Castle, you have to use that to get through some of the puzzles that are in there.
Well, Mega Man is interesting throughout whatever iteration you're going through. Like, in theory, you can beat that game without any of the powers up to that point. You can take on any of the robot masters using the general Mega Buster and just coast through it. It's the pattern recognition, and like if you're absolute psycho, you absolutely can do that. I am not one of those guys, but like the rock paper scissors like mentality of fire beats ice, ice beats wind beats crystal. There's always like a weapon that is effective even if it doesn't make sense. Like it's the whole Pokemon weakness kind of system.
It's always been rock paper scissors.
Yeah, exactly. But
he's
30 years
Rockman.
before that, he is Rockman.
But he's
Which is why
Rockman.
Cutman was there.
Yeah,
What
exactly.
about Paper Man?
True. It's fair. Paper Man.
Justice
We
for
don't get
Paper
him until
Man.
like Mega Man 12, but
Yeah.
Justice for Paper Man. I guess Woodman, kinda.
So partway through the end of Wily's Castle, you'll end up being a boss rush mode where you have to fight all the bosses again. Now, apparently that's a mixed bag. Some people don't like it because it feels weird to fight all your bosses again. Others do enjoy it, as in that it's like, well, I get a second chance with you, but now I'm more powered up than I was the first time we dealt with this problem.
Oh, the refights are my favorite part of any Mega Man
I
game.
super
really
fun.
liked it.
I do remember getting to it at the very the first playthrough that I ever got to them, right? Not the first playthrough ever, but the first playthrough that I finally got to Wily's Castle. I was like, all right, old man, time to teach you a lesson. And then it was like, dun, 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 and I was like, what the hell? How are you here? I murdered all of you. You are dead.
I watched you die.
The catch was with the first game, they weren't all in one spot with teleporters like they did in later games.
True.
In the first Mega Man game, you fight them again, but they're spread out throughout the levels of Wily's Castle.
Yeah.
It was just like, okay, like this is weird that I'm returning here. Wait a minute.
I've been here before.
Like, I agree. It's really cool, and it's a cool conceit. Like, somehow Palpatine returned, like somehow Airman survived.
No, I killed you.
Yeah.
What are you doing here?
Which like is really neat. But I remember the first time I was like, little me was like, "Wah!"
Now, after that, you get to fight Wily, the final boss of the game, and to be honest, not the hardest thing to deal with in the game.
No.
Especially with that aforementioned weakness find. Like if you don't know what you're doing, like, I can just use a Mega Buster, or you use like the bubble gun or whatever. You're like, okay, wait a minute. This is the most useless power of the entire game, but suddenly it wrecks the boss. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
All right.
Which became a trend.
Yeah, right. The most useless thing somehow rocks the main bad guy. Awesome. Into it.
So Mega Man 1, if you're wondering why we're cutting through some of these really quick, is because we have 11 of these Mega Mans to get through.
Yeah, and
You've
some
been
that
kinda
you
busy.
have forgotten, sir, that I have added.
No, we'll get to some of those if you want to sprinkle them.
Oh, we sprinkling, baby. We sprinkling.
We have to do that after another Mega Man. So here's the thing. Mega Man 1 did okay. And that's the part people forget, because even though we now see this giant, large series, Mega Man didn't have a whole lot of support from Capcom. They just thought, well, here's a new game. All right, it did okay. We'll just move on from there.
I've seen the original art for Mega Man. It's of its time.
Mhm.
It would not have sold me at that time, I don't think, personally.
Some people say that one of the reasons I didn't sell well is because of its box art, which
It's not good.
fair.
In my like, no disrespect to the artist, no disrespect to anyone who's like that's their jam, but like, it doesn't even
again,
look
It
like
has
Mega
mad
Man.
Fiverr energy. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it has mad 1980s Fiverr energy.
They paid some guy $20. And like, Jim, you're a graphic design. Can you like whip something up for Mega Man? He's like, what's it about? They're like, I don't know. He's like, yeah, sure. Here you go.
He like rolls over, hungover on a Sunday. He's like, "Oh, I forgot to do that. Oh, give me a second." He just like rips it out. He's like, "Here you go."
100%. I mean,
Checks in the
Leo,
mail.
You said that we have to talk about more Mega Man games. What could come after Mega Man 1?
So it would be what we'll know as Mega Man 2. So
What?
The best GD Mega Man known to man.
It's so
Honestly,
good.
yes.
It's I don't know
Mega
about,
Man, for that matter.
I don't know
God,
about
that game is a pop.
The music. The
Yeah.
music is so
Dude,
good.
it's so good.
Two-
Ah.
of the original Mega Man games. I'll give that to you for sure. I'll give
Okay.
that to you.
Yes,
The
yes,
best
yes, yes.
Mega Man game is a,
I
is a
see
hard
what you're. I
play.
already know where your head's
Yeah,
at.
yeah.
You'd make out with Zero if you could. I
Oh,
get it.
God, how could you blame me?
No, he's so
No.
dreamy.
I know. But
That luscious golden hair.
seriously,
Who's this person?
honestly, I know I'm jumping the shark here a little bit, but
Hmm.
I was like, oh, this is Proto Man, but he's cool. As a
Oh,
child.
hold on. Take that.
I know.
the hell
I'm
right
sorry.
back.
I'm
Hold on
sorry.
a second.
I'm sorry, but
Hold
that's not.
on.
I don't feel that way now, but it is
Mhm.
how I felt. I was like, oh, this is just Proto Man, but better. Like he's red. He's got a sword. He doesn't have a stupid shield. Like,
Yeah, but he can't whistle, so like,
I mean,
checkmate.
ooh, you got me there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You nerd.
Yeah.
you showed him.
Yeah, gotcha.
Proto Man, better DSLs. Got it. Ask your parents.
It's
That
a
is
camera
it.
thing. It's a digital lens or something, right? It's got better oculars.
Yeah.
It does make things more enhanced. So, anywho,
With Z
so
Buster.
before we go, here's the weird lore about this. The developer and the Mega Man team, which is interesting for a lot of the Mega Man series, even up to I think roughly about 8 or 9, it's the same people. At least through the NES series, or so up to 6, it's the same people who are working on this for the most part. I mean, people go from different parts of cars. So what happened is Capcom's the developer who worked on the first game was like, I know we can do better. We can do this better. I want to do Mega Man, but better. And they went to Capcom and said, yeah, can we get a sequel for this? We can't warrant a sequel. This thing didn't sell very well. You know what? If you can do it on your own time and you finish all your work, fine. You can work on Mega Man as well. It takes, I think, less than a year because this is a passion project. And we don't talk about that very much in our gaming history for things. We think of it as passion projects typically in the indie scape for indie games. It's one of the benefits of an indie game is they can develop however they want it to because their limitations are what they can put into it. But as a passion project, there's very few of them that get to the end of the board on that. So Mega Man's one of the is a passion project for these guys, and they put their heart and they put heavy duty work into these. Keep in mind, they still have to work, well, it's Japan, a 10+ hour workday. Then they're going to work into or probably more, because crunch time is still a thing. And then whatever extra time they have, they're like, I'll put a couple hours into this, and they do that vigilantly to the point they bring up Mega Man 2. And it is the biggest game changer. Like, if you listen to our previous episode on music, the music alone, we spent like a ton of time just talking about Mega Man's music alone. And Lord knows there's enough remixes and different gameplays. And that's just the music to mention with this. And in Mega Man 1, when you start the game, you go straight into the game. No question that Mega Man 2 starts with an intro and leads up to, and in fact, the song that they play at the beginning of Mega Man 2 is the ending theme to Mega Man 1. and then it crescendos into its own thing, which is a bop and a slam. It's amazing.
Again,
Yeah.
shout outs to Brental Floss with one of the greatest songs. Like, I can't
Yo!
hear. I can't hear. I cannot hear the Mega Man 2 theme without being like, Mega Man. No, back what you would say, Mega. Like, it's just
Literally, I think it'll come out before this episode does, if I'm not mistaken. The last podcast we did, I brought
The
up
music one
Brental
comes before
Floss.
this one.
dude, it just
So
nuts.
like 100%, yeah, you know.
And then there's a group by the name of Dwayne and Brando who have an entire it's the entire Mega Man 2 game, but it's like a rap opera, and like it goes through all the levels and the bosses, and it's just oh god, dude, the music of 2 in particular. Again, all the Mega Man games just have absolutely slamming soundtracks in my opinion, but 2 in particular is just, as the kids say, diffy.
I gave him shit before, but the Proto Men, the band, is incredible.
And this is off topic. I firmly believe that their version of events between Dr. Light and Dr. Wily is like the most cohesive way to just like explain what's going on. Why is Wily a dickhead? Why is Light so protective? Like, what is the situation between all of this? And like the introduction of Proto Man and like why Mega Man became who he was. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that one as much, because I like the idea of like, oh, he just made this cool ass guy who was supposed to. But anyways, it's give us the doctor kind of stuff, which actually comes into play in one of the games as well, where again we'll get there, where Dr. Wily actually frames Dr. Light like, oh, all this chaos, it's actually his fault. It has been since the beginning. But get into that later. But it's just there's so many. The music alone just bled out to so many cool creative types doing so many cool things with this property.
It's Dr. Light all along.
Yeah.
The new Robot Master, Gaslight Man.
That's incredible. Mega Man 14 looking real good right now.
Yeah.
No, and like, I remember hearing songs that were based on, Mega Man songs, or that, Airman Got Taos and I is one that I think about a lot. No idea who the original artist of that, but that's Airman Can't Be Defeated, or I Can't Defeat Airman. And
which, by the way, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt here, but this is a fun segue. The Mega Man 2 manual has a section, How to Beat Airman.
Yeah. And like this song is like a kid who's remembering his bygone youth, his bygone days, and how frustrated he was by not being able to defeat Airman. And like, it's just, it's good. It's great.
It's solid.
The inspiration of Mega Man's music cannot be understated.
Yeah, it's so good.
I think even comparison to most Mega Man games today, it is still, Mega Man 2 is still held in such a high regard for that. With reasons.
It also has the like worst Robot Master in the form of Bubble Man.
Yeah.
Just weak.
The worst Robot Master is debatable. However, I am still leaning towards Bubble Man on this one.
He's doing his best, okay?
Maybe so, but Bubble Man's stage had really good music too.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Just the boss guy, just like, okay, cool.
So,
well, funny story about Bubble Man, but I'll get to that on Mega Man 3 because it's actually relevant to that game.
So Mega Man was designed to be Mega Man the way that they wanted it. Mega Man, but better. It sounds sad to say it that way, but there's a reason why people talk about Mega Man 2 in high regard, and Mega Man 1 is it exists.
Who are you? I'm you, but better.
I mean, pretty much, yeah.
Well, to be fair, they also fixed the janky physics when it came to walking.
And you'll see that as a trend. Every time there's a new Mega Man, the physics, the mechanics, the nuts and bolts of the Mega Man series, not including the parts that actually have nuts and bolts, happen to be they always work on it and make it better and better. So you will feel the control schemes if you are someone who's played like the Mega Man collection. If you start from the beginning, work your way up to all the older Mega Mans, you start being able to run through those newer Mega Mans a lot easier than the older ones because of that.
Don't get discouraged with the input lag of the first game. It gets better.
It gets better. So they decided to take the formula and change it. It's not 6 bosses, it's 8 bosses. Why they added 8, I still don't know, but it does fill up that nice little box of the stage.
I choose to believe it was 100% aesthetics. Sorry, Leo.
I like to think it was Dr. Wily being like, you know what? 6 didn't really do it. Add 2 more. That'll do it this time. Like, just throw more.
What if you put me in the middle? Wouldn't that be cool?
What's what happened? He just adds 2 more.
So if you're wondering how the development cycle was, Mega Man 1 comes out and is fully made by 1987 and it's released worldwide. That's one of the reasons why the box art's so bad, is because they only had one day to get everything done. Mega Man 2, on the other hand, is developed in 88 in Japan, and it comes out in 89 in the United States, which means it had 1 year of to be developed, which is, especially for any game development with that much overhaul that they did, amazing. And then also the United States had a proper time frame to do all the marketing and back it up, which is why we still talk about Mega Man 2 today now. Music is amazing. Dr. Wily's Castle is one of my favorites. Like, the second you get into Dr. Wily's Castle, I'm like, oh, it is on. It hits.
Iconic for the series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mentioned this before in the previous episode. My personal favorite, that's like one of my top 3 of Mega Man songs, but my personal favorite is still Crash Man's song. That is stuck in my head.
Which is also in this game.
So they have 8 bosses now, and each boss has their own series of weapons that they come with. So we kind of have to talk about the replacement in the room, which, not the elephant, but the replacement. If you can beat the game in any order, that's always been a thing that Mega Man has. But most people will go towards Metal Man, take him down, and apparently it was a bug for what they had with Metal Man, and they decided, nah, Mega Man 1's hard. We'll just leave it in. We'll leave it in. Because Metal Man's thing is that he has the metal blade. It takes 4 or 5 shots before it even takes 1 piece of energy away from it. It attacks in 8 directions instead of Mega Man's just shooting forward. And it does a ridiculous amount of damage.
I hate Quick Man.
Why use anything else?
There's no reason to at that point.
For the record, fuck Quick Man.
There's also a fun little thing with Metal Man in the refights. You can kill him with 1 shot of his own weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we forgot to mention. So when we're talking about this as a bug, but also a feature, some Mega Mans will have that. Elect Man has one where if you, I think it's start
button, dude.
Yeah, if you hammer to the start button, it'll pause the game and unpause it, but it resets the hit marker for Elect Man's lightning, so you can make it repeatedly hit the same target over and over and over again. You think that's not? I think that's how you get through the Yellow Demon real easy.
Sure.
I just want to know what happened to Metal Man. Did he get like the Tommy Oliver treatment, where like he's serving up some ass whoopings the first time, and then he get his weapon and he can be killed in 1 shot with his own weapon? Like,
it's my only weakness.
Rough,
me.
Why am I punching myself in the face?
And that's actually, it's funny. It's funny to say the only weakness, because it felt like in Mega Man 2 there was some overlap. There were you could use multiple weapons on multiple bosses, and they had multiple weaknesses sometimes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they had a weird damage level that they put on there, because some of those weapons did a ton of damage even to the regular enemies. But yeah, if you had I got the metal blades, I'm done with you, Mega Buster. You can just take a nap now. What's my purpose? You get me the metal blades. After that, you're done.
Oh no. God damn it.
It's rough, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was the thing too, is that you're playing with a material and a technology too. Like shooting through walls was like a thing, where if you couldn't hit certain guys, you just shoot through the wall kind of deal. And so being able to like break that physical barrier, you physically couldn't do it, but your weapons apparently just transpose matter to the other side and just wreck, which is cool.
You also had a thing where basically at that point, they removed the whole point system.
Yeah.
We didn't need it. It's gone. You're here to beat the game. That's it.
Good luck, have fun.
Good luck, have fun. They also introduced the E-Tank, so I don't have to leave when I'm getting my butt whipped on this thing.
Yeah. I can just heal myself back up. This is cool.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to farm out the flying bats in frame 7.
Yeah.
You do have to farm out the E-Tank, though.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, so they introduced these concepts for it. The gameplay handles great. You go through the boss fights, and it's so fun to go through the Metal Man boss fight and see how fast you can take him out in one go. Yeah.
Ninja Star.
Oh, Ninja Star. But yeah, so and the music's composed. The level design is amazing, and Mega Man, I'm gonna give it credit. They will do their the level design, and they kind of up their game every time. Either they make it look prettier, their graphics are amazing, or it just happens to be a super cool design on it. As frustrating as Flashman stage is, I do love that most of Flashman stage is you racing the whole thing.
Well, he like also has the move where you just stop moving and you think your game's broken. You're like, this is cool. I was just trying to play the game and suddenly I can't move. This feels broken. All right, cool. Thank you.
And then I think Flashman gives you the flash stopper, which just stops time.
Right. Like, oh, okay, I can do that now. Neat.
And so you'll see these enemies on there, and these bosses are. I don't think this is the game where they introduce bosses having powers that can do multiple things on it yet. Like using the Heat Man's weapon to melt certain things.
Oh, like the environmental changes. And
yeah,
stuff.
environmental. Because I don't think they put that in until X starts showing up later.
The only exception to that is Crashman's bombs to blow up walls with.
Yeah, that's true.
Which one of the bosses in Wily's castle relies entirely on, and if you don't have enough energy, well, you're just screwed.
Sucks to suck.
Oh, I remember that boss. It's a particular boss. I don't know what it's actually called, but what it is that they have a set of turrets and a set of walls that can be, and both the turrets and the walls can only be destroyed by Crashman's weapon. So you have to kind of figure out the best, most efficient way to take care of this. Now, when they had come with utility items, unlike the first game, which only had one, which is to make the bridge, this one had 3 of them. It had a balloon that you can get on top of. What was the other 2? It's not the jet, because that comes with Rush.
Are we just talking?
Were we talking about Mega Man 2? Or
Mega Man 2, yeah.
Because Mega Man 2 had 3 support items. It had a sort of a jet sled thing that you jumped on, and it would fly across. It had a a platform with a helicopter sort of blade underneath it that you could jump on. And then it had a wall climbing thing, which felt a bit superfluous, but
I can just fly. Why am I climbing this wall?
The catch was that with the item 1, the platforms, if they were too close to the wall, they would just disappear. Also, you could use the number 2 item to trivialize a lot of the levels.
Yep.
And then
we're flying.
And then just like with Mega Man 1 and the Magnet Beam, you could break a bunch of stages. You could do a bunch of zip tricks with the 1 platform.
Oh, yeah. I think it's... is it Crash Run I'm thinking of? Where you can climb all the way into starts getting into space?
Yeah, basically. Honestly, I wasn't sure what to make of that as a kid.
Yeah, as a kid playing through that, like, why is it getting darker? Why is it getting darker?
Just up into the upper atmosphere, I guess.
Space.
Airman stage was also notorious because it's hidden behind a bunch of clouds. Was not a fan of that one. To me, as a kid, Airman was like the toughest thing to ever fight. Me as an adult going through through it again, I'm like, man, I was a dumb kid.
Why was I so dumb?
Love Airman.
You didn't have object permanence yet.
Yeah, I guess not.
It was like, if it's not there, it doesn't exist.
Well, so the thing is, Heatman stage is not nearly as hard as Airman stage, and I'm just going, lava, I get it.
This makes sense.
I mean, yeah, like,
this clicks.
Lava bad.
Airbenders are harder to fight than firebenders. We all know this.
But you got to give it up for Bubble Man stage. Yeah. You have to figure out, understand your jumping mechanics to make that thing either a nightmare or it's fairly clever and easy to get through.
As someone who played like Sonic the Hedgehog before the Mega Man stuff, I was always worried that I was just gonna gobble up the bubbles.
Yeah.
Oh no, you're supposed to jump on them, not consume them. Plot twist.
Or didn't realize that Mega Man doesn't need to breathe.
Yeah, right. Oh, robot water makes sense.
Yes, but you do have to control your jumps.
Which you can do in midair, which doesn't make any sense, but we'll allow it. I can go
just,
left, right, and in between. It's great. I love it.
Let's lower the gravity because you're underwater, but let's also put spikes across the entire ceiling.
That's of the Mega Man baddies, the spikes are straight up MVP. Like, bottomless pits, difficult. Big baddies with armor, that's not very fun. Spikes, get me out. Get me out. Yeah. I'm done.
And I think that's all I really want to touch on Mega Man 2 right now. Not because it's not great, but that's a whole thing if we can stay here on Mega Man 2.
So Mega Man 2, right?
This is
Well, I mean,
amazing.
when you get there and you're running through the platforms, no, it's suddenly moving on its own. Oh, there's a dragon.
Right?
That's literally. I forgot about that boss. There's a dragon that comes out of left field.
Literally, out of the left field.
Oh yeah. And then there's a bunch of platforms that you have to jump, and you don't. And until that ride stops, you can't fight this dragon. After this, Dr. Wily gets got and then escapes. And then we get
can't keep
into
getting away
Oh, he was an alien in this one, right?
Oh yeah, this is the one.
This is the one where he's an
alien.
alien. They're like, Dr. Wily, this angry German man who keeps making these angry robots to keep being angry robot. Oh, why he's an alien? And that was like a mind-blowing moment too. It's like, wait a minute, hold on a second. I've been fighting an alien this whole time. I guess that makes sense. There was a dragon there. Like, yeah. Anyways, sorry, I had to bring that up.
Dragon robot.
And you have to use the bubble to be.
And you have to use the bubble. You're like, what the? Are you kidding me?
Everybody knows aliens have dragons, guys. It's
Yeah, right.
common knowledge.
That's how it goes.
It's a lead bubble. Why do we even have this?
He came down in a bubble, bro.
Bubble, bro.
Grow up.
Wicked German of the West.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, you
Iron
want to stop a
Curtain.
witch, you drop a house on them. You want to stop an alien making robots, you throw bubbles at it.
Yeah.
I don't write these rules. It's just how
That's how it goes. But yes, he falls onto his knees and he starts begging for his life. He's like, I'm so sorry. I'm angry German.
I'm so sorry. And then after that, he's like, all right, I'm going to arrest you, I guess, or something. Now don't do it again. So Mega Man 3 comes out because he does it again.
What?
What? That's crazy.
He cannot keep getting away with this.
Especially not like 12 more times.
As an alien, did he have diplomatic immunity? Is that why we never prosecuted?
No, you can do something to make sure that to reveal that he's actually Dr. Wily. His real problem is a thing that they talk about in later Mega Man games, and we didn't get the translation for it. The robot masters and all the robot masters cannot willfully injure a human.
It's Robo Law number 1. We all saw iRobot.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Will Smith, I love your work.
And so because of that, he can destroy. Mega Man can fight all the robots and such, and stop his robot, alien machine thing. But once Dr. Wily's there giving up, I'm done. My hands are tied. This is the rules built into here. If you're wondering how important that is, that's the difference between Mega Man and X, because X has full sentience and he doesn't have to deal with that. He just stops things because it's the right thing to do, because he's a form of justice.
Maverick Hunters.
Mavericks are a whole thing on that. Which, honestly, that storyline is amazing. And unlike and they started putting that together in Mega Man X. They don't wait until like 4 games later to put these things together.
They learned a bit from their time.
Mega Man walked so that X can run.
True.
And I
Literally.
Well, I mean, Mega Man dashed so that
right,
X,
yeah.
or slid so that X could dash.
Yeah, right.
yeah.
And then he could do it in the air, which
Also makes total sense.
That's the system. I didn't write that. Do you make robots? And robot masters?
Yeah.
I make Legos. It's like the same thing.
Yeah. Like it's hard.
Man, I've just been reading the wrong robot books. That's my problem. You see why there's all these wires there? That's why your robot didn't work, Leo. Because I used acorns.
Yeah, Acorn's not very conductive.
So Mega Man 3 is coming out. At this point, Mega Man 2 is a hit. So it warranted having a sequel. They're like, okay, you guys can have a sequel. Let's develop this Mega Man game. And so they went through and made Mega Man 3. Mega Man 3 introduced a bunch of new mechanics and things, and just like the other Mega Mans, this one handles a lot better. Now, this, for nostalgia's sake, is the first Mega Man that I ever owned. This is the one that got me into the whole series for that.
Same here, actually, as far as owning.
Yeah. Now, is it the first Mega Man I ever beat? Yes, on my own. If you're talking about the first Mega Man that I ever beat entirely with my family, with like my brothers and sisters, or that I think is Mega Man 4, and I let them deal with most of the problems. I was here for Toad Man and Toad Man alone, but that's in Mega Man 4, and that's a whole different issue that Toad Man has.
Mega Man 3 also has Hard Man with the ability to hard.
Uh-huh.
Just
His special move he gives you is Hard Knuckle.
Yep.
Like, isn't this punching? No. It's Hard Knuckle.
it's just a hard. Also, Gemini Man, who just runs in circles.
Oh
Like,
my god, I
cool.
hate that stage so much.
The stage sucks. The boss fight is super easy, dude. You're
Yeah.
just like, I'm in 2, and now I'm over here, and now I'm over here,
It
and now I'm
definitely
over
feels
here.
like some of those like lesser Batman villains where it's like, I'll get you, Batman. I'm the calendar man. Like,
I'm the
Condiment
condiment
Man.
king.
yeah,
Yes!
Condiment King. Hope you're not allergic to mustard. Like, okay.
I am Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
Yeah, yeah.
One of many Alice in Wonderland inspired villains that you'll have. But no, they're starting to come out like all these are the ones in the back. Like imagine that you're like you had Metal Man. That's a robot made of metal with a giant saw blade. Well, that didn't work. Gemini Man with the power of
Being a twin, 2 of them.
Look, at this point, he's gone through 22 robot masters, okay? They can't all be winners.
yeah.
It's like the
I think Gemini Man's cool. He's got the Gemini laser.
fair, but then you have like Magnet Man with the power to pull things closer to him.
But why are we not talking about Top Man in
Yeah,
this case?
Top
Yeah,
Man was the
Top
other
Man.
one. Yeah, literal dollar store robot master.
Does that make an existence of Bottom Man a reality?
Well, that'd be Shadow Man because that's his weakness.
Hey, yo.
Yeah.
Don't forget about
Yeah,
Switch Man.
Mhm. There's also later you live up into Train Man.
Mm-hmm. It starts to suffer from that like Pokemon syndrome where it's
Yeah.
like just pick a thing and throw man at the end. Like Snake Man's already kind of pushing it. Like there's no
Yeah.
other animals in this one. Like just throw a snake in there.
Yeah. You know, snakes are spooky.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Spark Man sounds unsafe.
Not
Actually,
the same,
Sparkman sounds amazing. The music of that stage.
Oh,
so
so
dope.
good.
So good.
but not the same as Elec Man. Don't get that twisted.
Yeah, don't
Yeah.
yeah, they're different sparks, different
Yeah.
conductivity.
Elect Man works for a long period. Spark Man only works for a short
Yeah,
period.
so Sparkman can can use electricity, right? No.
No.
Common mistake.
It's like when you go to plug in your charger and you accidentally touch the metal sides when you plug in. You're like, shit! Like, Man's like grabbing the wall in Jurassic Park.
Watch out, he'll mildly inconvenience you.
Yeah. So here's where something gets interesting. When we talk about robot masters, because there's usually you get the powers of one guy, and then you can move on to use it on another dude, and then another dude. However, in Mega Man, there is weirdly 2 different routes to go if you want to go that route.
In Mega
There
Man.
is I went with Magnet Man to deal with Hard Man, to deal with what is the guy that Hard Man fights?
Top Man.
Top.
Man.
Oh yeah, Top Man. Take that Hard Man into that top. Man, these jokes write themselves.
Man.
Come to find out that I think the speedrun strat, or at least it used to be, was starting with Snake Man of all people.
Yeah, for the Speedman route, which is weird because it's technically a harder fight to deal with Snake Man, but his powers are more useful as you go.
I'm a little sad that in Mega Man 2 we didn't bring up the Guts Dozer and how ridiculous that is, but Gutsman is so lame they put him on treads and brought him back.
Actually, Gutsman will become this weird staple that comes back again, but like in different forms. So I think I'm going to put a limb out there that Gutsman is Dr. Wily's favorite, but he's going to need to mix it up a bit because it didn't work right the first time.
I also
Also-
firmly believe that Gutsman and Cutman are in a partnership
Yes,
Mhm.
100%.
based solely on the anime alone. But
Yeah.
they're always together. They're always fucking things up. Like it's
Yup.
it's like the Team Rocket equivalent, but they love each other. So
It's also a little bit weird that Snake Man has arms and legs, and that Shadow Man just throws ninja stars, which I understand is like ninja in the shadows. Like I understand the conceit behind it, right? But like on the face of it, does not have much to do with shadows.
he shoots little baby snakes too.
That's true, Snake Man.
Shadows Man doesn't even have much to do with his stage. You tell me how much lava has to deal with ninjas.
Well, lava makes light, and light makes shadows. Checkmate, atheists.
Math checks out.
Although I will say, Snake Man does lead the way, as we've already mentioned, for Toad Man. So, like, starts the animal trend. Dr. Wily's like, all right, it's Snake, Toad.
Well, you get into
That's
like
the
we're getting to the later ones though, where there's a full sequence, like Flame Stag, stuff like
True,
that.
yeah, they've got
You're just
two
like, all right,
names.
cool.
That's to differentiate X from Mega Man.
Right.
So all of X's Robot Masters will have an animal theme tied to it.
Right.
And so they just stick with that, which is weird because Mega Man also has animal themed man. So it's like there's a sheep man somewhere in the series.
Centaur Man.
Okay. But real briefly, we're at Mega Man 3. At this point, remember, Mega Man 2 is a huge hit, so much so now we're introducing Mega Man to other forms of media. I saw Mega Man first over in the old Captain N cartoon series.
Yeah.
You know, which had Mega Man as a chain smoker short guy.
He's still a short
guy.
guy.
He really is. He doesn't have lungs, so what did he have to worry about?
The Captain N show is a weird.
Yeah.
And he had to add the word mega to every sentence.
Yeah.
Well, excuse me, princess.
Excuse me.
That's Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
It wasn't much different, though.
Like, I don't know that, Leo. Like, I'm not aware of what I was quoting here. It's of the same time, and they're both terrible.
There is a crossover episode, if you can find it, though, in there.
Is there? There's a crossover show of the two shows that are kind of similar? That's wild! Who would have thought of that? Two bad cartoons doing a crossover, and then I reference one, and you're like, oh, Dane doesn't know what he's talking about.
I feel it's amazing that the Legend of Zelda cartoon predicted a speedrun strategy in Ocarina of Time years before it was even made. But that's an entirely another episode.
Wait, okay, you got to tell me this after the show. I need to know what the speed run is.
I'll find the clip.
But at Mega Man 3, though, it's such a huge hit in Japan. That's when I think around the time they start the Mega Man anime too. I want to double check that one.
I'd have to double check. Yeah, I'm not sure.
This is where Mega Man is starting to hit the strides of being the multimedia Mega Man that we know of now.
Did you know they had a Mega Man pregnancy test?
No.
Yeah, you could get a Mega Man themed pregnancy test around this time.
What are the positive and negatives? Like rock and roll, or
it was Elec Man and Spark Man. You know?
Elec Man's the good one. Spark Man's the not so good one.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it looks like it's about 93, 94 when the Mega Man anime comes in. And
I thought you were looking up prices. I was confused.
Definitely confused. Not where I was going at with this one, but you can
get a Mega Man pregnancy test for $94.
See, here's the thing. I don't not believe it when I found out that Kiss has its own series of things. Kiss will sell out to anybody.
Can you play Doom on the Mega Man pregnancy test?
Hope you like Gemini Man, because it's twins.
It's twins.
Not include Shield Man or Protect Man or
Rubber Man.
Rubber Man.
Proto Man had a shield, and Sniper Joe and some later iterations.
True, true.
But Mega Man 3 has this weird case where, by the way, thinking of the spikes, Top Man stage has like got broken glass and shattered into other places. I'm like, it's not built to OSHA standards on this one.
I don't think any of the levels are, but his in particular is very like.
Yeah.
Where's HR?
Where's HR?
And more good music, but I'm just going to say that about every game.
Right, yeah.
Mega Man is a robot. Every song is a hit. That's just what happens when you have a Mega Man game.
Yeah. Now that's what I call Mega Man 12.
I would buy it. 100%.
Oh man. I want this all in acapella at this point.
It's there.
Yeah. You can find it.
Acapella Man.
Shoots music notes.
Incredible.
If you don't fight all of them, there's just like a small group, like a little choir. So anyway, but you could do a different speedruns. Now, unlike the other Mega Mans, after you've beaten all of the 8 robot masters, you have this weird thing. I think they're called dock robots, which is you go through 4 stages, which has the bosses from Mega Man 2 again that you deal with, but you don't have Mega Man 2's weapons. It's just the Mega Man 3 weapons and hope for the best.
I was going to say, that's actually where it comes into that thing I mentioned about Bubble Man, is during the Dock Robot Bubble Man fight, if you use the Rush Marine and just float just above the floor, the AI for Bubble Man only reacts if you're touching the ground. So you can just sit there hovering off the ground, shooting Bubble Man, and it'll just sit there.
He's too high up for me. I'm not. You have decided to put yourself on the top shelf, and he's not going to reach. Well, that's it. That's my whole plan.
He's too strong.
But this does introduce the rush system, which is just
The best.
now
play.
we have a different dog that has the utility stuff for it. I will let you know that Rush Jet has let me skip most of this game.
bestest boy.
And I know later you're going to need that for a very particular stage, but however, at this point, I'll just use that to get past all of these jump traps that I really don't want to bother. Oh, like that rope block thing that they have in Mega Man. Skip.
Yep.
Pass.
Why play the game when you can just skip the game?
And there's also a glitch in Mega Man 3 where if you have weapons on the second page of your list, you can just press right and get to the rush items that you don't have yet.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, works for Rush Jet at least.
Mad stats. I like that.
And that's the only one you ever really need.
Right. Who needs a spring? I don't need to go any higher. Come on now.
You don't necessarily need Rush Marine when the Rush Jet works just fine underwater.
Right.
That's true. All right. Rush Marine, you can work underwater. And Rush Jet, why not work underwater too? Also, they introduced a new mechanic where you could slide to different places. And this is also where we bump into Proto Man.
Yeah.
And also slide.
Yeah, don't even.
Yeah, no.
Proto
Man's amazing.
He's got sunglasses.
He's okay.
Sun never sets on cool. All right.
He's okay at best.
Hope rides alone.
I was gonna say, except when you fight totally not Proto Man, Break Man at the end there.
Right.
They ever explain that?
They really don't.
Okay, I didn't think they did, but I just needed to make sure.
He was there, and that's about
He's
it.
a guy.
Like, are they brothers? Are they friends? Are they lovers?
Clones?
What is the
Like,
connection here?
What's
Like,
happening? The world may never know.
But they have. I know Proto Man's there early on to teach you how to use the slide, because you need to use the slide to get around Proto Man, and then you can use that for the rest of the game. Here's the thing: you don't fight Proto Man every time he shows up. So if you pick the wrong level, Proto Man shows up, opens a door and leaves. Very Tuxedo Mask of himself.
My work here's done. You didn't do anything.
My work here is done, and I'm leaving.
I like Proto Man.
He says begrudgingly.
But-
Go ahead, finish that thought. Yeah, okay, there it is.
But what does he really do?
He
in
protect.
it?
Yeah,
He
Not
run
initially.
interference.
The Protos, do you not read their name?
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, like
Mega Man Megas.
He
I
protos.
get it. They wanted a Racer X vibe for Mega Man. I understand. Like I
Yeah.
do get it, but I just feel like the mark fell a little short.
I guess my interpretation as somebody who has, Proto Man tattooed on him next to my Mega Man is that, you take a piece of every battle with you. It's kind of like an overlying theme of Mega Man, right?
Sure.
And it helps you on. And so Proto Man is like always bring backup even if you don't want it.
Yeah.
Kind of vibe. And so he's that I don't want to say older brother figure, but the idea that they are quote unquote related, made from like the same frame or whatever. It's
Mhm.
that he's there to oversee. And
Yeah.
Wily just gets his tendrils into him like a bad X. You know what I mean? Like, sorry, I meant like X, Dater, not Mega Man.
Mega
X.
Man X. Got it.
But
I
and
understand.
so he's a constant throughout it. And so is he useless? Sure, because we were talking about the Joes and how there's a Joe who's built exactly like him. But he's got sunglasses, so he's just obviously better.
And like Proto Man, when he showed up, I was ready for him to like change the game.
Right.
I was like, this is the guy.
Yeah.
He's Mega Man but red with a shield, and he's got sunglasses and a scarf. What's not to love, right?
Right.
And then he didn't live up to my expectations, which
That's
isn't fair to him. To be fair to him, it's not fair that I was like, you're gonna be the guy, and he was like, nah, man, I'm not that guy. But
You just wanted him to give you a monologue about like being better. Like one day you can be like me.
yeah,
Like,
I wanted like a Minato to Naruto sort of situation or
That's fair.
whatever, I guess that's more of like a father-son thing, right? But
Sure.
Yeah, close enough. Is it here when they finally start explaining more of their plot, or not yet? I think that's not until like 4 or 5.
No, in three did have a story, and that's that they were trying to build this robot Gamba, and Wily found his senses. He's a good guy now.
Yes.
He's totally a good
He's
guy.
changed.
Totally.
He's a changed man.
He's super good.
is this no? It's 4 when they bring in Dr. Cossack, isn't it?
And then And then once you beat all the robot masters, Wily stole the crystals in the robot.
Oh, what would thought?
I didn't see it coming.
Oh,
I was ready to
man.
believe.
We give him like 8 more of these before we start, realizing
He better
there
start
might be a
thinking about
theme.
what he's doing, though. We're gonna.
Because Gamma is, I think, the final boss, right? You fight Dr. Wily riding on top of Gamma on that.
Yep.
And then, if you want to beat Gamma, just take the not top spin. They luckily didn't tie every. No, top spin's the final, the best weapon against Gamma, isn't it? At the end of the game.
Snake Man, actually.
Oh yeah.
But you can also use the Shadow Blades to an extent.
Okay, picture this: Gamma, giant, 50-foot tall robot. Beaten by snakes. Just fill his thing full of snakes. He's never going to see it.
Unlike the bubble, this makes a little bit of sense.
You ever thrown snakes into like a washing machine? Like not that I
Not
have,
really.
but I would imagine that would cause
Oh
some
yeah,
issues.
that's come up.
Like,
Being stuck in a clothes dryer full of snakes would be
seems terrible. Seems
Very
effective.
bad thing.
He was tired of these motherfucking snakes. I'm in this motherfucking robot. I get it.
You want to shoot me with a giant laser? No, I got snakes.
Yeah, like, I don't need
It's
a
the one thing
laser.
I didn't plan for, snakes, even though I made a snake man. Like shit.
They were expecting lasers. They
Yeah,
weren't
right.
expecting snakes.
It's like when you're like playing, guns and swords as a kid. Like, oh, I have a gun shield. It's like nobody makes a snake shield. Like,
That's true.
Oh man.
I had a force field. You didn't hit me. I hit you with snakes. Shit.
Should have thought about the snakes. So depending on who you talk to, either the fact that you have 2 different technically boss rushes you have to deal with this, the regular boss rush when you have to deal with Wily, and then you have the retread of the Mega Man 2 villains that you have to do again, and then you still have like some people say that whole part is like extra padding, and I get it because I think this might be one of the longer Mega Mans, but not because you still have to go through another set of then you have to go through the Wily's castle, and then you got to deal with that. But luckily, it doesn't have a boss that's only weak to one particular power, like back in Mega Man 2.
So I'll be honest. I love Mega Man. I love the game. 1, 2, and 3 played a lot of. And then I have vague recollections. It's like 1, yeah. 2, hell yeah. 3, definitely. 4, 5, 6, 7. Like, I mean,
it happens.
Doing my research for this thing today, I was like, oh yes, that was a thing. Oh yes, that was a guy. Like,
and like no hate to those games. If those are your favorite games, like that's awesome. No problem. But I just have a hard time remembering that, that Napalm Man was a thing, or Crystal Man, or whatever. Not to mention some of the later Centaur Man. How does that make sense? I don't know.
Yamato Man.
Yeah.
Yamato Man's dope. Chill.
I mean, yeah.
Yamato Man's dope, but okay, Dustman throws dust. I get that. Is he throwing a Yamato at me?
Yep, Yamato cannon.
Obviously.
Straight to the dome.
You get the Yamato cannon, which is
which is a thing.
A league joke no one's going to get.
Plant Man. Tomahawk Man I get.
Well, we're going to get into 4 though here in a second.
I'm
and
sorry,
4
I'm
has
sorry.
some dope ass like
4's
guys.
I do like 4. Like I remember
followed
4,
by some really dumb ones, but
yeah. I mean, Dustman being a guy.
Yeah. So actually, let's go on to 4. Now, here's an interesting thing for the Nintendo back then, and this is a really critical thing to understand. Nintendo has a rule for the NES, which was you were only allowed to produce so many games per year for a company. So at this point, most companies stop making sequels after the 3rd game because they don't want to have to reserve. We're going to save this one spot for a sequel for it. Mega Man's one of like only a handful of games that has sequels past 4, 5, and 6 all along the NES because of that weird rule that they have. And number 6 has a weird loophole for that one. But Capcom makes a 4th Mega Man game. Let's keep this truck running. Yeah, as Adam said, not all of these robot bosses are winners on this one. Like Toadman, who I mentioned earlier, Toadman doesn't actually shoot toads at you, but Toadman will use toads at you. Because I think the powers you get from him is the ability to make rain.
Dude, he does like this move, and I'll never forget it. It's just a hip thrust. He just hip thrusts at you. He's like, "Hey, I'm a dude." Like it has nothing to do with it. He's like, you're like, "Okay."
What does this have to do with toads?
I'm not sure what this. Like, you croak at me or something. Stop doing that. You're being weird.
I feel like it was supposed to be kind of a rain dance kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, that would make marginally more sense, but I just felt like he was being assaulted at that point.
Yeah. Here's the thing with Toadman. There's a bug in his AI where he will jump at you, and then you can move around to dodge him, and he will just jump at you. You can fight Toadman and never have him use his abilities on you once.
He just thrusts at you, dude.
Yeah. And he can go down like a chump now that you have a Mega Buster. Also, this is where we get the Mega Buster.
Toadman's ability has a cast time.
Interrupt. But you also get Pharaoh Man and Dusk or Skull Man, who like just like by their looks, badass. Like,
yeah.
Super
Skullman's
cool.
great.
Yeah.
I also love Skullman's level because there's bones everywhere, but it looks like you're on like a dig site. There's fossils that you can find in the background and such.
This is the one where we get the jet too, right? Or is that later? I might be wrong there.
For 4, because you still have Rush, and Rush has jet mode for it,
Okay,
I believe.
I'm wrong there.
But at this point, no, it's still Dr. Wily who's the enemy, right?
No, this is where Cossack comes in.
Cossack.
Is it 4 where Cossack comes in?
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
Who's a good guy?
He's totally good.
4 is Cossack. 5 is Protoman. 6 is the mysterious Mr. X.
Oh yeah.
so like, yeah. So in this one, unlike Dr. Wily being the bad guy, it's Dr. Cossack. And Dr. Cossack is the one who's running these 8 robot bosses. Now, the reason why they did this, they did like Dr. Cossack's from a completely different lab over in Russia. So also, depending on what Mega Man lore you go to, the regular world countries exist or they don't. I don't understand that one. But yeah, so you have to deal with Dr. Cossack, who's built these 8 robot busters, and you got to stop all those. It's a thing. They'll just keep on doing it.
And his daughter's in danger.
And his daughter's in danger. Well, yeah, his daughter's in danger. Does he know about that yet?
It's been so long.
Well, so Cossack was set up to fight Mega Man by Dr. Wily because Wily kidnapped Cossack's daughter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Wily has, at this point, officially done a crime.
Allegedly.
Well, so he didn't, we don't know about the other robot masters from 1 through 3 and such. They could have just gone crazy. No, this one he straight up kidnapped somebody.
I'm just saying.
Allegedly.
We haven't proven it in the court of Robo Law.
Robo Crimes Division.
Dun dun.
So this is where I bump into that interesting piece of research. This is where I found out from Mega Man 4 that very few members of the Mega Man team leave and come back, so a lot of the Mega Man teams stick together to keep making these Mega Man games. Which is kind of weird to say because you don't see teams sticking together very long when you're getting to sequels. Usually, once the sequel is done, everyone moves around. The only other big time I know about that that famously had the same team is when they did Symphony of Night, because it's the same team who did Rondo of Blood. But he did that, the director of that did that by design. Because when they upped the graphics, he's like, nah, we're gonna still keep these 2D things and so we're gonna use the same art team. So everyone stays here. But yeah, so they have the 8 robot masters. Some of the robot masters have charge abilities. Pharaoh Man, a weird name, but Pharaoh Man is there, but he can make this giant charge shot and can eliminate a lot of bosses just on his own.
He's that badass. He is him, as they say.
Yeah. You also bump into Eddie or Flip Top, the guy who comes by and he'll give you a random item. I always hated it when Eddie comes by and he drops off the tiniest health bar for me.
Like, cool, thanks, bud. This is why you're a secondary character.
If he comes in and drops off an E-tank, though, amazing. Love him to death. But only when he does that. I want you to know this is a prize-based system.
Oh, that's like you also look at the anime side of things. He would show up and slam a soda down Mega Man's throat, like somehow more effective in the anime than he ever like really was in the game.
True.
He's that guy in the back. Chug, chug,
Yeah,
chug.
right. Hey, Mega, it looks like if you put this in your mouth, swallow it, it'll make you feel good. Like, wait a minute, hold
He
on a
had
second.
one purpose.
Yeah, right. Get you wasted, mega wasted.
Did we make sure that this is beer? Nah, this is energy drinks. He is mega wired.
Yeah,
now.
he's just 9 Red Bulls in.
So, do you have to beat Cossack's castle and then go to Wily's castle? Like, there's 2 castles?
Yep, for the first time, instead of 1 fortress, you get 2.
So,
Real estate.
so is it safe to say that when you're a scientist, if you can get tenure and you get a certain establishment, you get a castle as part of your deal?
Absolutely.
I mean, we're 2 scientists in. They both got castles.
It comes with your robo diploma. That and
Yeah.
crippling robo debt.
Maybe Dr. Light's robots wouldn't be stolen if he had a castle. I'm just saying.
You know, Dr. Light doesn't have... He needs more castle in his life. There is wisdom here.
Maybe he should have like ADT, but the robo edition, you know? Maybe just stop
ADT
letting
is
bad
what-
guys into your domicile too. Like that's... I can change him. Like, no, you can't.
No, you can't.
It's not a goth girl with anime tattoos. Like, chill.
Yeah.
That would
Oh,
change.
is it?
That would change the game.
Mhm.
I can fix him.
I would play it.
I would play it.
You know? Yeah. That's probably
Trauma Man.
I just want to make sure that Trauma Man isn't a real robot yet.
Serotonin Man.
New robot master, goth girl woman.
Goth girl.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with like
Too
Splash
strong.
Woman.
Well, I thought I was in love before.
Or mall goth is what I meant.
Not to be confused with Goth Woman from our history,
Yeah.
who is in fact a
There-
goth, not a. Never mind.
He's working on it, guys.
It's a
getting
funny joke if you know your history.
I laughed.
What if I know my Mega Man history?
That's all. Then it's also funny.
What do these goth robots do? They sack Rome. That's what they do.
They turn into a trebuchet.
We have a Tomahawk Man. We can have this guy.
Trebuchet Man,
Cool.
You know, honestly, why haven't they come up with a Trebuchet Man yet?
Ballista Woman.
So the Mega Man 4 bosses get kind of interesting because you got Toad Man, which I thought you'd shoot toads, but you don't. You just make it rain. Ring Man, which throws rings.
Based.
Skull Man, which is super metal and throws skulls at you.
Incredible.
That's the closest thing I think we got to a Goth Man at this point.
True.
Dust Man will still throw dust. Pharaoh Man, which apparently throws Egyptian kings at you, or no, it's just this giant light energy.
It's like the angry sun in Mario.
Yeah. Is that what I'm throwing the Angry Sun? I believe it. Dive Man, which as a concept I think is weird. But because he dives and shoots missiles because I think he pretends to be a submarine. That was his whole shtick. His level was super cool. But yeah, so we're getting to Mega Man 4. And so if you notice that Mega Man 4, we're starting to get into what is colloquially known as sequelitis, having too many sequels that feel too similar from its own game. And unfortunately, nothing holds that more than like Mega Man, because at this point, we're starting to get Mega Man on the Game Boys, which are rehashes of Mega Man 1, 2, and 3.
Right.
And so you have more Mega Man that you can have at your disposal.
They're literally copy pasted too, because at this
Mhm.
point, I believe we've had 2 Game Boy games that
Right,
are like,
yeah.
we pull 4 from one of these games, 4 Basters from these ones, and like just throw it into a handheld, which like cool, awesome if you
Mhm.
know you are playing that. But yeah, especially when we get into Mega Man 5. But
Yeah. So, but yeah, this is why we're kind of skipping through for Mega Man 4, is because at this point the formula hasn't changed very much. They added the Mega Buster, which is cool, but we move on. Unless anybody has anything else with Mega Man 4, let's get on to 5.
I mean, 5 is even more forgettable than 4 was, unfortunately.
So yeah, that's the sad thing is, but Mega Man 5, it's not Dr. Cossack or Dr. Wily. This time it's Proto Man as the villain. Dun dun dun.
Or is
And he's kidnapped Dr. Light.
You know what? Just kidnapping it at the source now.
I mean, stop it at square one, right?
So yeah, this is the Mega Man 5 is unfortunately notorious for being the most forgettable of all the Mega Mans at this point. Like, you hear about 1, 2, and 3 being like this epitome of how amazing that is, like through the history books. But Once you get to 4, it gets kind of meh. Now at 5, people forget about 5.
I mean, look at the robot masters: Stone Man, Gravity Man, Crystal Man, Charge Man, Napalm Man, Wave Man, Star Man, and Gyro Man. Like, they're all just more or less. Hey, what if fire? What if we had a fire themed guy? Well, we've already done that a time or two. What if it's Napalm?
Charge Man is a train,
Yeah,
a literal
that
train.
is true.
But
He is the robot equivalent of Thomas the Tank Engine.
Gyro Man's a helicopter, right?
yeah, well, yeah, he throws helicopter blades at you. I wrote down on my little note sheet here that I have. I'm definitely not cheating. I definitely write stuff. But Gravity Man can go to hell.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
That stage introduces something that was so weird, but like used a lot in that time too, where it's like you hit the arrow, it puts you on the roof. You hit the arrow, it goes back down. And then the boss fight is this cavalcade of clusterfuckery, for lack of a better term, where it's like, I have one shot at this, and if I don't hit it, then I gotta. Oh God, yeah, Gravity Man can go to hell.
Annoying.
And like realistically, Gravity Man should solo everybody. Like,
Yeah.
how does Snake
Send her into
Man
space.
beat? How does Snake Man beat Gravity? He doesn't. I'm sorry. He doesn't.
GG.
Yeah. I can't shove a bunch of snakes into this. This is Snake Man 5. There's no Snake Man I can get to. I'm still trying to figure out what do I get from Charge Man?
Train buster.
Overdraft fees.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, it's a train. Do I go to be a train on that one?
Shout out.
I'll be honest. Mega Man 5 is a blur, even though I know for a fact I've beaten it twice.
I was gonna say Charger Man gives you that slide kick attack.
That you used in Mega Man Soccer, right?
Yeah. Okay, I'll be honest. I just thought I was sliding this, just a regular slide. I would have never remembered that I had this.
Charge Man.
Shout out to Wave Man for looking like Empoleon the Pokemon before Empoleon the Pokemon. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
Dude did some work.
You need to have your water-themed boss, and like Wave Man showed up.
What if they're blue and like an Emperor Penguin? My God.
Genius. But let's see here. Mega Man 5 at this point would be coming out on 92. So we're starting to enter into the era of getting closer and closer to the Super Nintendo.
We also get Mega Man on the Game Boy, Mega Man 5, that introduces Tango the cat, who just doesn't exist anywhere else. Because we have Beat the Bird, we have Rush the dog, and Tango's just like just fucking off on the side, just chilling.
Yeah, little guy.
Meow.
Now this one does have Beat the Bird, and if you get Beat, you can solo most of the. You can just turn Beat on, and he'll take on every single boss that you've got going on.
I mean, like every Mega Man game, right? Like, air superiority is key.
Not against Airman.
Well, yeah, you can't beat him though.
Leaf superiority is what you need for against Airman.
That's how you beat the game.
Yeah.
You break it.
But yeah, so Beat is an interesting thing because it's a bird that locks onto an enemy and just takes them down. But if you use it on every boss, you can just turn it on, call it a day.
Pretty sure it goes for the eyes.
Yeah, I believe so. There's a bunch of little story beats that happen in Mega Man 5, and I can tell you, I can't remember much of it. Again, 5 has unfortunately got the moniker of the most forgettable of the Mega Man series.
Proto Man kidnaps Dr. Light. You go, you save him. And he's like, ah, shit. Sorry, this is actually Dr. Wily's doing again. You're like, what? Dr. Wily? No.
Not to mention the actual like fortress bosses that you face just feel like generic robots. They don't have any particular flavor.
Anyone else a little mad that it's not Proto Man's castle?
Yeah.
He didn't get his own castle.
Well, he does. No, there's a Proto Man fortress.
Is it? Really?
Yeah, it's a big Proto Man helmet.
I don't remember that at all. Oh, there is. No, you're right. Oh man.
That's the thing though. That's part of those games being kind of forgettable in comparison. But I think that's part of the next generation of consoles. I mean, were they out by then or on the horizon at the very least?
They were in the horizon. I know that.
Like, not that you are absolutely correct, but I really do love the idea of the next generation consoles being the Super Nintendo. That phrasing is awesome.
Here's the thing, though, because
it comes with a disc drive.
Yeah. So this is the SNES comes out about 91 in North America, and this is the NES pushing Mega Man 5 in 92, which means the hype train for the SNES, and then you have Genesis's hype train coming up at the same time. There's not a whole. The Nintendo is just seen as, I guess, for lack of a better term, archaic, or passe. It's still there though.
They literally abandoned this IP, like for lack of a better term, like the numbered Mega Mans, to release X. And they're like, we're going to do that in tandem with another numbered Mega Man. But let's just do it at the same. Like, we'll get into that, I'm sure. But it's so wild.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Mega Man X will come out in 93. So it is in the winds. But mostly the hype train for Mega Man's dying out, because we were feeling that this is another sequel coming out for Mega Man. And this becomes the sort of passe at this point. That doesn't mean
they even gave it to Sega at one point. Like,
yeah,
just do that, have fun, enjoy that.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, skipping this because it's not as memorable as all the other Mega Mans, which is saying something because there's still another Mega Man that comes out.
I know.
So Mega Man 6 comes out, and it's 93 when it does that in Japan, and in 94 when it's in the United States. At this point, the Super Nintendo's been around for several years. Mega Man's biggest competition is Mega Man again, which is Mega Man X. So here's where this one gets kind of wonky on this. For Mega Man 5, the reason why it exists is to promote a Nintendo product. It's called the the NES Top Loader. It's a Nintendo box that you could that you load the cartridge in from the top, kind of like with the Super Nintendo and such. This is it was cheaper to make at the time as a gateway for people who wanted to keep doing their NES. But they wanted to use a new NES game system that you want to hand out to somebody, even though the SNES is right there. But it's cheaper to make than the Nintendo, which is funny because if you try to buy one now, it's like 10 times more expensive than buying an SNES. So,
well, speaking of cheaper, they also outsourced some of the bosses for Mega Man 6. Like,
that's true.
Like, hey, like, why would we pay people to do this when we could just source the fans?
Mm-hmm. This is the one that has the fan source of it. One of them was designed from a guy in Canada, and I forget who's the other one. And I forget what the two bosses were. I think it's Yamato Man is one, I believe.
This was literally a trivia question in a game show that I just did the other day, and I still don't remember the answers.
There was Blizzard Man, I think, and
oh, sorry, we're looking for bosses for 6. I phrased out Blizzard Man, Wind Man, Flame Man, Plant Man, Tomahawk Man, Yamato Man, Night Man, Centaur Man.
Yeah, but two of them were from random Joes. There was like
2 of them were made
submissions.
by ones that are outside of possibly outside of Capcom, but they're outside of Japan.
If I had to guess, Tomahawk Man and Yamato Man.
Nope, it wasn't Tomahawk Man.
Centaur Man, Night Man, Wind Man, Blizzard Man, Flame Man, Plant Man. Yeah, shout out to Flame Man, by the way. It's not
We
Heat
need
Man.
another fire-based
It's
boss.
not Napalm Man. No, this is Flame Man. We got here. We nailed it.
We did it.
Blizzard Man, not Ice Man, not Frost Man. Nope, Blizzard Man.
okay. So the two characters in 6 that were from outside Japan were Windman and Nightman.
Nightman. Yep.
Nightman.
Aha! Wait.
That's what we use
Thank you,
our chips
the
on.
big
Wind Man. Okay. What if we took Airman, made him more orange?
I love that there's a Nightman and a Centaur Man.
They're playing D&D.
Yeah.
Mega Man 6 is just D&D.
With
Dryad
extras.
Man.
Yeah. Nymph Man.
Nightman, Windman, Centaur Man. Yeah, pretty much. We can go with that. Now, I do believe that so Mega Man 6 is interesting because it's got a couple of different things for it. It was designed as a world event sort of Mega Man. So these were all supposed to be robots that would represent some sort of country or nation around the world. Nightman was for England, I believe. Yamato Man was Japan.
Who was Tomahawk Man? Where did that come from?
The southwestern United States.
First Nations, yeah.
Which is cool because they put their backgrounds in design. Tomahawk Man is supposed to look like Arizona for some reason.
Not what I got, but
I did not get that jive, but that's what they tried
Apparently,
to do.
apparently the submission name for Tomahawk Man was Geronimo Man.
Oh,
That's not better.
I'm glad they. I mean, to be honest, Tomahawk Man, a good deal better, I would say.
Yep, actually, yeah.
Not good,
They didn't call him Alamo Man.
not
Like,
great,
you know,
but better.
But yeah, so this is coming out at literally the tail end. In fact, Capcom didn't release Mega Man 6. Nintendo did. So and Nintendo still has that weird rule that only so many games can produce. So Nintendo gave up one of theirs to make sure they had a Mega Man for this game.
this game is selling well. Do another.
Do we want another Legend of Zelda? Not on the NES. Gross. Give it to Mega Man.
Mega Man.
That's what it felt like. Just give it up to Mega Man. Here's the thing. It was actually a fun game. I liked the Mega Man 6 a lot.
I think the thing that always threw me off about Mega Man 6 was the decoy bosses, essentially.
Yes, the
If
fake
you-
ones.
If you
Yeah.
didn't take the correct path, you didn't get credit for it as far as completion.
And then another cool piece of that is that if you went back into the stage, it changed from day to night.
Mhm.
Like it had like a solar cycle. I don't know what to call it.
I think it's just called Day and Night Cycle, maybe.
Sure, whatever it is. But
Solar
yeah, if
cycle
you effed it
sounds
up the
cool.
first time, like it would change like the aesthetic, which was kind of neat, but equal parts infuriating.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Mega Man, your boss is in another castle.
Mega Man.
Exactly.
Which is weird because if you fought Nightman, it's literally another castle. But yeah, so that's the thing. Mega Man 5 is the one people don't remember. Mega Man 6 came after that. Even though we don't remember it fondly, still the control schemes and things are still working up. They are pushing the NES to as much of a limit as they can.
And then they're going to abandon it like a child.
Pretty much. Well, you got X out now.
All right, kids, buckle the fuck up. Here we go. Here we go.
Dane became Proto Man. He gets it.
You got a brand new Mega Man. This is not your daddy's Mega Man. This is a cool Mega Man. He's fighting dudes named Vile, Boomer Kwanger, Storm Eagle, Launch Octopus. That one kind of sucks. Chill Penguin, Armored Armadillo, Sting Chameleon, and of course, as we all know on the internet culture, the best, Sigma,
Yeah.
as the kids say.
And then your husbando showed up, Dane,
Yeah,
with his ponytail and Z Saber.
it's so good.
Also,
so
I love that
good.
there's the stages would change. There's hidden exploration that you had to do in that game.
Vertical climbing.
Yeah.
What?
Mhm.
Holy shit.
I mean,
X is amazing.
I
Armor pieces.
Yep.
loved Mega Man 1, 2, 3, 4 ish, 5 through 7, and their
Yeah.
things. But man, X, I remember reinvigorated my love for the series, where I was just like, "What is this?" Because like Mega Man's kind of like a small little guy, right? Like that's part of the appeal. Is like he's just a little guy fighting big guys. I love that. But Mega Man X is like on par. You know, he's becoming a Maverick Hunter. He's working with Zero. He's doing all of these things and fighting people basically his size or larger. Yeah, I don't know. It just I remember being like, yeah, this Mega Man fucks. Yeah.
But again, I was talking about this before the podcast. Like Ego Raptor does a really great breakdown of how the original Mega Mans up to this point were very formulaic, and how X absolutely changed the game. Again, to quote, "Holy fucking shit, this shit's awesome!" Like,
Yeah.
you know, from the movement, which was relatively the same frame by frame, to the way that you functioned. Like again, I mentioned the wall climbing, which doesn't seem like a huge thing in like modern day gaming. It was massive. You know, it really changed the way you could do things. The exploration. I mean, you look at Launch Octopus and his stage, the way that like the underwater parts of that, where you could open up extra areas, the Hadoken that you get, like the Easter egg side of things expanded from there. But again, we're not talking about X so much, but X really did reinvigorate and absolutely epinephrine straight to the chest, Pulp Fiction style, the Mega Man series. Absolutely. And for me, and I was talking about this again before, like I played X before any of the other ones. And so I was like, oh, this is like super rad. And then they're like, yeah, there's like 6 of these beforehand. I was like, oh, and then you go back to one. You're like, oh,
what is this?
This sucks.
Why is Mega Man little?
Yeah, right.
And I've played my fair share of all these retro games because I'll explore, but I'll be honest, if I'm recommending a Mega Man game,
It's X.
it's X. It's X. It's just
without a doubt. But it suffers the same problem though. Is every time you add another number to it, it's like
Yeah.
Mhm.
And not to confuse it later with Mega Man Zero, which isn't related to any of them.
Yeah.
the multiverse.
It's tangentially related.
I mean, I still, yeah, in the fact that there's a Mega Man and robots and kind of sort of adjacent to a few of the titles.
It's
Which
like
has nothing to do with BattleNet, you know.
Yeah.
Oh,
And the 20 of those that
oh,
came out.
oh, we'll get into Battle Network. I have put it on the list.
Mega Man Zero is like that future that is just so distant that the old games are just completely irrelevant to the plot.
Mhm.
Oh, you did put it on the list. That's funny as shit.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Nice.
like as
Underneath break the formula.
as great
Did.
as Mega Man 1 through whatever are, and as great as Mega Man X is, for me, not a contest.
You like squares. That's
Dude,
what it is.
Mega Man Battle Network, in my opinion, is the best of the Mega Man games.
You like deck building?
Yeah, I love deck building.
Not so much for me, but I think Battleman Network was Mega Man for the Pokemon generation.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh.
I think we're on the
like
same
that.
generation, but it was for me, so I mean, I'll take it.
I'm calling it a win.
To me, as somebody who started with the original Mega Man games and was all about the platforming and shooting, I played Battle Network and I'm like, what the hell is this?
Amazing.
What have you done to my boy?
Incredible.
I mean, it is a switch to do that.
Deck building and you're pausing me before the fight? What the fuck are you
It's
doing?
a good change.
I'm not
Considering-
saying that it's a bad game or anything. It's just it's not Mega Man to me.
It's just different, yeah.
That's wild to me.
It's only Mega Man in name and art style. It could have been something completely different and been successful, but
I disagree. Like, I think Mega Man Battle Network is more Mega Man than Mega Man 8, than Mega Man 9.
I
Nine, I'm
disagree.
gonna have to. I'm gonna get nine's different.
Nine we'll get
sure,
to.
I'll give you that one. But
I'm-
nine.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, what are we stacking up against? How was 10? How memorable is that? 11. Like,
Yeah, Mighty Number 9.
Mighty
like,
Number
let's jump
9.
into that.
Everyone remember that game? That was real good, right? Like,
Everybody
Yeah.
remembers Mighty Number 9, just not for the reasons that
Oh, God. It hurts so bad.
I did.
Inafune's back.
Could have
Let's
been-
go. Oh, shit. It's bad.
Could have
It's
been
real
so
bad.
good. Could have
It's
been
giving
so
me
good.
5 vibes all over
And
again.
like, I agree, right? Obviously, like, it is not Battle Network and Legends, which I would include under this
Oh,
break the
shit.
formula.
Yes.
is not the same platform, fight boss rushes, do the thing, go from there necessarily. But I think that some of the hallmarks are still inherent to both games that do sort of lend it to being Mega Man games. Maybe not the type of Mega Man games we were used to, right? With Mega Man 1 through whatever and Mega Man X. But I do think that, like, you know, going through a stage, fighting a boss at the end of that stage, getting powers from that boss, which helps you progress through other bosses. Now, granted, Legends and Battle Network were more linear. So that gone was the, oh yeah, defeat these guys in any order. You know, that
Yeah.
we did lose along the way. But I do think that, like, the base formula was there, even if the skin and the guts man of it were changed.
Yeah. And
He's
you'll get a
right
guts,
now.
man. It's there. But honestly, I'm with Dane. It's kind of necessary. X is so radically different from Mega Man. However, people remember Mega Man, and I know I went back to Mega Man 4 after I played X, just because, you know, I want to see what all the rest of these Mega Man games go through. And then which is great, because, like, if you were a good player for any of the earlier Mega Mans, X just flowed. It just felt so right.
And you got to jump into robots. You were double
yeah.
roboting.
True.
I got more robot in my robot.
Riding on cards.
I'm a sucker for games that have a stage change in mid change. Like, if you, I forget what order it is you beat one particular stage and then you go to Storm Eagle stage, you can skip half the stage because of the boss that you beat earlier. Or if you beat
Chill Penguin, like Flame Mammoth stage is frozen over.
It's frozen over. It makes it way easier.
Right.
Those concepts are great, and there's things like that in Mega Man 6 actually. You can actually freeze certain areas that are on fire beforehand. You can make certain changes for it. So they are still taking elements from Mega Man, which is not just the skin of it. So they're not taking like, we've got 8 bosses, Mega Man X has got to have 8 bosses. No, they're taking other concepts that are from there and building upon them, which is great. Again, the problem is X is so much better, and I'm not saying that as someone who just loves X more. I'm saying that as facts. There is just more to X than there is for Mega Man 6, and that's the nature of it. It's an old NES game. It can only do so much on the NES.
So let's release 2 Mega Mans at the same time. That seems like a smart idea.
Yeah.
Like, let's just whatever.
People were
They'll buy them
tired.
both, right?
Yeah, people were tired of Mega Man before. Well, here's double the Mega Man.
Yeah, this was so not pushed so much that Mega Man 6 is not sent to Europe at all. So for those who don't know about old school regions, there is Japan, United States, and Europe. And it's like that for
Australia.
And then Australia has its own. That one doesn't come in until I think mid-90s or such. It's weird because then you have Japan that makes all these games, and then everything else is the Wild Wild West. The United States now has entered its field. Everybody else is the Wild Wild West.
It's like a game of Risk.
Mm-hmm. What is it? Most people remember the only game from Russia, even though they've made a bunch of games. Tetris is the only one people remember.
Oh, that one. Yeah, that one. Stalker.
Stalker. Yeah. And that's a much newer game in comparison to it. Oh. But, so, they're like, nah, we're not even going to bother to put it out to Europe or anything like that.
It also wasn't that great of a game, though, too. Overall, storyline weak. The setup of everything not the greatest, and the level design was just super weird.
Yeah. Is 6 6 isn't the one that Mega Man nearly takes out Wily, right? That's 7 that does that.
I'm pretty sure it's 7, but I could be wrong.
So what they do with the series is they kind of, you think they put it on hold. No, they just sort of moved it to the Super Nintendo with Mega Man 7 at this point.
7.
But yeah, unless you had the Mega Man collection, which came out, 2010-ish or something like that. I forget when that actual year is. That's when you in Europe could have been like, there's a 6 game?
I was going to say which collection, because they've done that a few times by now.
Yeah, that's true. The first one is when they actually could get.
I think the one you mean was one that was released for PS2 and GameCube that era.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's when if you were in Europe, wait on, there's a 6?
I was robbed.
Oh, I didn't even know that lit that high. So we move on to Mega Man 7, which is honestly surprisingly enough, Mega Man 7 is one I never got the chance to play until I got the Mega Man
emulators.
Mm-hmm. But 7 shows up and they released it in 95. Side note, they released it in the 1 year they don't have a Mega Man X.
Good move.
And they're like, we don't have an X. I got a Mega Man. Sure, we'll do a Mega Man. And so you got to give them credit. Mega Man 7 is made in 3 months.
It's just a little bit of time.
Yeah. It's the shortest time frame of development for any Mega Man game ever. And knowing that, what they did with Mega Man, amazing, because you only had 3 months. But Mega Man 7 is when they actually had, when they went backwards. Mega Man 7 took inspiration from Mega Man X and started adding stuff that X had into Mega Man 7, which kind of makes sense because that's sort of what Mega Man 7 is. Mega Man X is the better of the series. What if we just glue it to these ones? Brilliant, let's go.
Well, that's when they introduce Tall, Dark, and Scary.
Bass and treble.
Yeah, it might as well add more musical things to it. What if Mega Man could shoot multiple directions? No, fucking ship that. Let's go.
Let's do this.
Does he also have a dog? Fucking yes, obviously.
But it's a cat.
Wily finally went the Dr. Robotnik route, and it's like, if you can't beat them, copy them.
Might as well. What should we do? Just turn him dark. We're talking black? Purple? Yeah, do it.
Mm-hmm.
Metal. Oh, wait, no, he's already metal. He's a robot.
Yeah, give him a gun.
Mega Man's got a gun. Let's give him a gun.
Weird.
Mega Man's got a. I'm just gonna copy his homework, but change it a bit.
Was this the one that introduced the secondary bosses, the 3 that moved? They're like the I don't, not robot masters, but there were like 3 bosses that moved, and you had to like find them in secret spots.
That was Mega Man X2.
Oh, never mind. I'm an idiot. See, if there's too many of them, I can't keep track.
Those are the ones you had to beat to get Zero's parts back. But
That's what it was.
spoilers for later.
yeah, right.
No, he'll be fine. He'll be fine.
Oh, this is the one that did the 4-on-4. So you got four of the robot masters, and then it moved to another 4 after that.
Yeah. So, and depending on your flavors, whether this is a genius move or not. So, by doing so, the next 4, it's actually a difficulty spike. The first 4 robot masters are actually way easier to deal with than the last 4 robot masters. And the first robot masters, their stages you could beat without anything. The next 4, you have to have the powers from the bots that you had before. So it felt like better progression because you could do these things. I think this is the one that actually added in a shop.
Yeah, we had to spend nuts and bolts, baby.
Which is an interesting concept. I give you these, you give me an E-tank. Give me all your E-tanks. I just need as many as I can.
We don't need a shop. Let me go find those upgrades.
I mean, that's one of those 6 to 1, half dozens of the other. You either like the fact that you can just pay for it and get it, or you like the fact that you can just find it and explore for it.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then also Dr. Wily's still the bad guy. That just happens.
No.
But yeah. Now this one, however, they use the power of the SNES to give you backstory and storylines. Like there's a whole opening cut sequence for that.
What's the storyline?
Essentially, so Mega Man caught Dr. Wily again, as he does, but Dr. Wily gets rescued by his robots, which are told to rescue him, and they run amok, and so he goes off and has to fight these robots again. Here's where it gets trickier because you get to a mistranslation when you get to the end of the game. So Dr. Wily his stuff is all blown up. He's like begging for his please don't hurt me, Mega Man. And in the US translation, it sounds like Mega Man loses it and burns the place to the ground.
Yep.
He's like, you know what? Not today. Because the ending sequence is him walking away from a burning rubble of that. So as a young one who has gotten through that, I assumed, oh, so this is when he turns into X or something to that extent.
Well, it's not just that either. It's like he is ready to shoot Wily, and he says, I'm going to do what I should have done.
Yep.
Way back when.
I wanted to do this for a long time.
But it turns out that whole thing was a whole mistranslation. So that was a weird effect. But yeah, so like they leave the SNES and we get into the PlayStation era of Mega Man. And that is
Are we all clenched?
Yeah.
Did we finish 7?
Yeah.
So Mega Man Legends, right?
Yeah.
The PlayStation era. So
we gotta do 8 first.
We gotta do 8 because 8 fails, so 7, so the rest can sound better.
Legends comes out before 8, doesn't it?
7,
Oh no, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
We gotta suffer 8 before we get Legends, man.
You have to.
Before they. Well, I mean.
Yeah. Okay.
And
so
8 also happened. Anyway.
So 8 introduces voice acting to Mega Man.
Factoid. Mega Man 8 released on the 10th anniversary of Mega Man.
Oh.
Like, to the day.
Yeah.
It's like, we love Mega Man. Mega Man's great. Let's just shit all over it real quick.
So, it was funny because it is the 10th anniversary. And here's the thing. Back in the day, at this time, PlayStation has a rule where it would not allow any games to be 2D. This rule will get broken in 2 years later because of this. This is like one of the few cool things it does, okay? So Mega Man was supposed to be go to the PlayStation. The guys at PlayStation, the head of that was like, we're not having any 2D games ever. This is a cool 3D thing. All right, and Capcom goes, all right, I guess we'll go put it up on the Saturn. The Saturn? Not on my watch.
Fuck you.
We will take that and we will accept that. You just got to give us something for it. it's too late in development. Art book, good enough. That's it. But that opens the door for other 2D cool games like Symphony of the Night to show up on PlayStation later. But yeah, so it's a 2D game built with a 3D engine that apparently PlayStation doesn't even want it.
Literal VO voiceover like flubs. Like Dr. Light sounds like he's Elmer Fudd. And if you listen to like the way he speaks, there are straight up misreads in that VO where it's like, how did this get past quality control? It's so bad.
Oh, yeah.
And like the boss lines during the fights too are just repeat. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Like as you're hitting the robot, it's so bad.
We must stop Dr. Wowie.
Dr. Wowie and the energy. Like
the worst part about it is that he says the name right the first time, but he can't remember his lines later.
Flash bomb, flash bomb, flash bomb.
I have a flash.
Yeah, it's so bad, dude. And they have an Aquaman that has nothing to do with talking to dolphins, which I feel like is not okay.
It's a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Truthfully, from 7 onwards is where the baseline Mega Man dies for me. I've barely played any of them, and I don't really have any.
Good news is you have 3 more.
Yeah.
I don't really feel like I need to. I'm good. I'm all set. You enjoy
Before
it?
we move on to that one, so if you want to know how punishing it is, remember this is the 10th anniversary. Remember those E-tanks we had in all the other games? Gone.
Oh, they're gone.
They removed that.
Oh, no.
Also, they have the hardest boss of Wily out of every iteration.
It's about time.
Not really the way they did it. So if you died at fighting Dr. Wily, you have to start before the boss rush mode.
Sounds like a
so you have to fight all 8 bosses and then fight Dr. Wily, and there's no E-tank or break between all that.
Yeah, you don't need that. I mean, everyone's complaining about how easy Dr. Wily is. You know, oh, Bubble Man this. Oh, here's your answer.
Bubble Man this.
There it is. He's learned. Yeah. After 8 iterations
8 times,
in 30 years.
8 times the charm for Dr. Wily.
But yeah, and you can buy upgrades, but the upgrades that you can get are slight changes. Like you can climb slightly faster. You can shoot, I think, more pellets.
And Rush can also commit war crimes now.
Yeah.
With his
Rush
bomb.
does air strikes of stuff and items.
That's the most important part.
The thing is, that's so weird because you have to have Rush to drop off items and hope that Rush drops off a health, or else you are screwed. This is Dr. Wily is a harder boss, not because it's Dr. Wily is harder. It's harder because the situation makes it harder.
We call that an environmental hazard.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, 10th anniversary. This is what we did.
Good luck, have fun. Also, Elmer Fudd, Dr. Light.
Elmer Fudd, Dr. Light, and that's not.
And
even
Mega Man sounds like he's 2.
Bring it back. That's when Mega Man was peak. Bring it back.
I may be a dissenting voice here, but I love Mega Man 8. It's a fun game. It's a fun game.
You can have
the game is fine. It's everything around it that is terrible.
Yeah, no point did we talk about the mechanics being bad or the game not be your funness is flavorful depending on how you like it.
But no, wrong mechanically, feel bad is what Leo's trying to say.
How dare you?
No, I think it's awesome that there are supporters of all Mega Man games. Like, I guarantee you there's somebody out there who's like, 11's my jam. It's like, dope.
I mean, 8 is nowhere near being my favorite Mega Man, but I think it's a fun game.
Yeah, like mechanically, the internals, the guts, no pun intended, of that game is great. But God, dude, the cutscenes and the voice line, again, ouch. Ouch!
The amount of memes you can get out of this thing is ridiculous. As I, for one, who's gotten through that game, I'm cool for not playing it for a while. Like, I'll do it if I'm playing through the rest of the Mega Mans, but that's because it's 8 and I just beat 7 and I'm already in it to win it.
It's my new extra life stretch goal.
There's one more unusual thing about Mega Man 8: swimming.
Oh yeah. See, I brought up the MS-DOS ones earlier today, and like they had swimming. I forget that's where 8 actually introduced the swimming.
You could actually swim in Mega Man 8.
7 other ones? Nah, 8. That's when you can swim.
We've only had 1 million water levels at this point.
Yeah.
Now you can swim.
That's a feature. We had to add that in.
It's a DLC.
Oh man. So here's the nice thing about this. After this point, there is, as Dane puts it, a break in the formula. We actually don't get another Mega Man game for years after this. So Mega Man, since we all have a break in this system, can be used for lots of things. And probably one of the coolest things is Mega Man Legends that come out of this.
Do we have to talk about Mega Man Legends?
It's so good. Why would you not
How
want
could we
to?
not?
Because it's heartbreaking.
It's like
your
okay,
favorite.
that's
I mean,
fair.
true.
It is the Firefly
That's
of Mega
why.
Man.
Like, can we just pretend like Mega Man Legends is like the Jesus of the series?
I mean,
You know,
it kind of is.
it
right?
dies, it comes back, and then we form a religion around it that maybe doesn't come true at some point.
It's
I mean, the
astounding to
analogy
me,
fits.
like
When I make my Christmas list, I put Mega Man Legends 3 on that list, knowing it's not going to come true.
it's wild to me how allergic to money companies can be. And like,
they'll just put it out with like a microtransaction.
well, sure, now they would, right? But like at its prime, right?
Yes, yeah.
And maybe they didn't have a good good idea behind it. Maybe it's a writer developer issue. I don't know. All right, I have no idea why they didn't continue doing what they were doing when it was working. And there is something to be said about stopping. I mean, much as what they did with Mega Man 8 before releasing Mega Man 9 eventually. They eventually were like, hey, this hasn't been great. Like, this has been okay, but like we missed the halcyon days that we were used to. What if we just like stopped for a bit and focused on other things? That's fine. But it's so wild to me when like you are primed and set up for printing money basically.
Mhm.
And just for them to be like, yeah, we're good. Like, no.
I just know that Trombone like awakened something inside of me.
Sure,
and
yeah.
that's never going to come to fruition.
Yeah,
Like
100%. I get it.
So let's explain Mega Man Legends for those who have never played Mega Man
Go
Legends.
play it. No
You can't
context.
just end it like that.
Shit's good.
It's real good.
So Mega Man Legends, ironically, I have not played Mega Man Legends.
What?
Never
You're
came up in
grounded,
my
mister.
roster for that one.
Leo, why?
I was broken and poor.
Yeah,
And I had to
okay,
pick
hold
and
on.
choose.
There's a word you used? Was?
Yeah,
So
I'm
what's-
bad at getting back to it.
What's your excuse
Okay.
now? You're over here replaying Mega Man 8 after beating Mega Man 7, and you ain't got time for Mega Man Legends?
I just restarted Mega Man Legends last night, and I've been having
Let's
a great time with it.
go!
I was
Boom.
like, I was showing a friend some PS2 games. Like they wanted me to play a little bit of Parasite EU2 and stream it for them.
Oh hell yeah!
And I'm like, you know what? This reminds me of Galarian. So I showed him Galarians for a little bit, and I'm like, but you know what game I think you'd really like that I love? Mega Man Legends. And I just played that
Yes.
for 2 hours as a demo because I just couldn't stop myself.
I will play Mega Man Legends after this whole cast and get that on my list of things to play.
I
Goddamn
still need
right.
to get you to play through Outer Wilds, but that's a different thing.
It's on my list.
Dude,
I
they
am
have a
writing it
monkey by
down.
the name of Data, and it goes like this, and it goes like that, and it goes like this, and it wears a diaper. Like that alone.
Dude, I can
The
watch that monkey
Servox
dance for
is what
ages.
sold me.
Why do you hate Mega Man Volnut so bad, Leo?
Yeah, dude, they gave him a name. They gave him a last name. That's how
Yeah.
important it is.
Wait, so what have I been messing with in Dead Rising?
Tennis balls.
All right. Anyway, so Mega Man Legends is a Mega Man game that is also an action adventure and also an RPG.
It's 3D. He's a
And
digger.
it's third
3D.
person. The camera angles suck.
Takes
like-
place on Earth.
Oh god damn, that game is so
It's so good.
it's so fucking good, dude. I almost want to break a tooth. It's so good.
Yeah, right?
Just it's the worst case of
Oh, God.
blue bomber balls.
3D,
known to
you
man.
run around. Very like Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, right? As like groundbreaking
I
as
think
that
that's
was.
the best way to describe it.
Yeah, that is 100% the best way.
As groundbreaking, and I guess they did port it to 64, didn't they? As groundbreaking as Ocarina of Time was for the Legend of Zelda franchise, Mega Man Legends was, in my opinion, for the Mega Man franchise. Because you were playing as Mega Man in a three-dimensional space. You could run around, you could do stuff. There were RPG elements. It was very good for me.
Where where Mega Man X7 was like the super failed jump for Mega Man into 3D, Mega Man Legends was a huge success.
True. Absolutely true.
They had solid storyline. They had
You wouldn't
they
know.
made huge users, right? Roll, and I think a lot of the original characters show up in Mega Man Legends, right?
Yeah, no, Roll's there, 100%.
Roll's there. Is it Roll like in most of the other Mega Mans?
They're-
Is Roll's there?
They're different, you know. It's instead of being Roll Light, it's Roll Casket.
True.
It's this whole like spin-off alternate universe type of deal. It has nothing to do with the other games.
And I would say
Oh,
that
yeah.
Roll does have a. I can't think of another word now that I've thought about it in my brain. She has a better role than she does in the other Mega Man games, right? She's a bit more present. She's a bit more
Exactly.
integral to the storyline. She's not just window dressing.
To the storyline and the mechanics, because, well, she is your mechanic and she builds your weapons for you from the junk you find.
Yeah, she does. She's kind of like a Winry from FMA. Before
Well, instead of
Winry.
like
Yeah.
getting elemental advantages, you get like actual like mechanic differences from like,
Yeah.
this shoots bigger, this shoots quicker, this, it's super cool.
Do you still have the weird 8 bosses thing like in the regular Mega Mans?
Nope.
Nope,
You've got a
it's
storyline.
different. Yep.
Ah, okay.
And some of those
Pro-
boss fights are gnarly.
Gnarly.
If you streamed that, I would totally watch you play Mega Man Legends.
Same.
All right. It's on my list.
Someone
it to
gift
the-
this guy.
Bump it to the top.
All right. I'll double underline it.
And like put a couple of Xanax on the side.
One of the best PlayStation games. It's not,
That I do know.
not for me the best, but it is one of the best.
Fair enough. Mega, this is where Bontron comes from, right?
Yeah.
Is Mega Man
Tron
Legend of One? Does Bontron have her own?
Tron Bon.
Or Tron Bon? I'm getting the back.
Have
It's also the origin of the
some
Servbots.
respect.
And Servbots. Well, and then like you get into like the Marvel versus Capcom side of things
Oh,
too,
yeah.
which again, not here. But
Like a little here.
sorry,
A little here,
wait,
actually.
Wait, her
This
name
makes
is
sense for me.
Tron Bon, not Trombone. Like trombone, like. burp, burp, burp.
I mean,
Googling intensifies.
I'm sorry. I was just trying to
I
make
need
sure
to
I've said
know.
it wrong for 20 years.
just, I don't know. I'm going based on the way I think I heard the voice actors say it.
Yeah, no, 100%.
It is written as Bon in Japan. Bone. It's pronounced Bone.
Hmm.
Her name was supposed to be a musical reference as in trombone,
Tron Bone, yeah.
is what I'm seeing from.
And yet that's not how they pronounce it in the game.
Right. I have an American education, so
Yeah.
And not one of the good states.
Anyways, but yeah, so you flip it. They play with the Mega Man series, and they use Mega Man for its familiarity mostly. But they play with the series to do some other things. Mega Man Legends is amazing. Mega Man Battle Network, which comes out, which, as Dane has put it, I got my card building game over in my.
it was Slay the
Mega-
Spire before it existed.
I mean, it was a
Mhm.
JRPG with Mega Man characters in a setting that I could enjoy. And sink my
Also
teeth
had an
into.
anime attached.
Also
It
had
did.
an anime attached, which didn't hurt.
NT Warrior.
I didn't watch it for a while. I was probably on 2 or 3 by the time I had actually seen the anime. But yeah, I don't know. Mega Man was always a little bit stuffy for me. I wanted a bit more out of like its storytelling, and obviously, graphical and data limitations not being its fault, right? It was developing on the NES and the SNES
Yeah,
initially, so like that's how we get this is Reptile. He's green Sub-Zero. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
I can save so much money if I just use the same color scheme.
What's really
100%.
funny is that the Mega Man Battle Network, his strong point was a sword,
Yeah.
not his Buster.
Uh-huh.
Like it was there, it existed.
Dude, sword chips were so good. Buster chips were good too for different things. If you wanted to pierce, I would definitely go Buster over sword, but I digress.
So,
I don't know. I'm a sucker a little bit for reimaginings of properties that I'm familiar with, right? So when you see in Awakening, Fire Emblem Awakening has a couple of nods to past games.
right.
But these characters are different. They've been changed. They've adapted a little bit. They're not the same people that they were from their games. Similar very much so to the Mega Man Battle Network games, where you've got somebody who has role as a character, but it's not the useless role that we know from Mega Man 1 through a million.
She
It's-
heals the shit out of you.
Yeah, she's awesome, and her chipset's pretty good. You've got Guts Man, and he starts out as an antagonist and then becomes, an ally. Also kind of cool. I'm kind of down for. So,
Does he also become a bulldozer too?
Maybe. I don't recall, to be honest.
But that's fine. There's a whole lot of Mega Man games that we're talking about.
But yeah, no, I don't know. I'm a sucker for reimaginings, and I felt that it was one of the ones that was done well. Legends being
Very much so.
also on that list.
Legends is on the top of my list officially
Good.
now.
Good man.
All right. That it said though, if you're curious, the next Mega Man in this Mega Man series won't come out until 2008.
Well,
So you're talking
unless we
about
count Zero.
almost the decade before they finally pull out another Mega Man.
because Zero comes out in 2002, doesn't it?
Zero's in 02.
Yeah.
Originally, but there's
That's not the
couple
real
sequels
Mega
back.
Man. That's Red Mega Man.
True.
We're talking the Blue Bomber, dude.
named Zero. Well,
But yeah,
it's
I mean,
called
you
Mega
get
Man
Zero
Zero.
So you get Zero to be based from because you have Mega Man from Mega Man X, and then you have Zero from there. So now we need a Mega Man Zero, so that way you can just play as Zero instead of.
Yeah, he does kind of seem like Mega Man X's and Zero's love child in the future. To be honest,
Mhm.
It's odd.
It's like a super distant future type of deal
Mhm.
for Mega Man Zero. Like the whole Maverick thing is way in the past. I think it's been a while since I brushed up on my Mega Man Zero lore, but this is basically at a point where all that's left are sort of human robot hybrid people.
Yeah.
I just think it's odd that
So-
they're like, all right, we have a new game. What's it called? Mega Man Zero. Okay, so we're bringing Zero back from X. No, this is in the future. Okay, well, what's his name? His name's Zero. Like the guy from X?
It's sort of Zero, but
Yeah,
it isn't
But
Zero.
also not, right?
But at the
it's
same time, there's
very odd.
X, but there also isn't X.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
You see. If you want to find the real Zero, you have to look into Omega. We're going to need a flowchart here.
Yeah. This is getting a little Kingdom Heartsy for me.
Yeah. Hey, if you want a solid storyline, stick with Mega Man Legends. They'll explain it to you. This one, I need a flowchart and some string.
And there's Dr. Wheel, but he's not Dr. Wily.
Yeah.
It's the German pronunciation of the German.
Yeah.
He does still sound like Elmer Fudd, weirdly.
Yeah. Couldn't fix that part. Never. It's always stayed. So if we move on to Mega Man 9. So Mega Man 9 comes out in 2008. So we're talking about Xbox 360. Mega Man has survived multiple console wars at this point, still on trucking. So in this case, what they did is something I think is a genius move, which is to go back to the NES formula. And I'll elaborate on that in a bit. So everything in that, even though you're playing it on a modernish console, you are it's still 8-bit graphics. It's still 8-bit sounds, and you still have to play it just like in the 8-bit days. And it's mostly the reason why the year is important to note about that one on 2008. We have started getting into that flow of retro games designed with an 8-bit or 16-bit style, games that are designed for it to be difficult, because you're talking about other games that are coming out later, and games at this point in time were never how do I want to put it? Difficulty seemed like a detractor for your game. If a game was too hard, it didn't sell well. In another couple of years, Soulsborne games are going to be a thing, though. And so there is a case in history of Mega Man 9 being important to unlocking all these other things that we get to experience later, like Cuphead, Braid, Shovel Knight, games with a flow of both 8-bits feeling or the feeling of it being a platformer and such.
We've progressed so much, we must go back.
That's sort of the short end of that. But the point being is to be a retro feel. And so the game designers who did this literally went back to designing it like an 8-bit field. Granted, it was a lot easier because we're in the more modern days. And so they do this that Mega Man 9 was considered to be one of the hardest games that came out that year. Which is weird to think about it, because if you were because I played Mega Man 9 with you, Kai, and I just watched you buzz through it, but you're a Mega Man purist, so that was not a problem for you.
I wouldn't say I buzzed through it so well. It was more of a grind. The thing is, and it's been a while since I've played through 9. I've recently picked up the collection on Steam, so I'm gonna give it another shot. But I think I vaguely remember some things that had to be frame perfect in that game if you wanted to progress.
Mm-hmm. They had a bunch of weird, interesting graphic things. In the Mega Man games, if you were close to pixel close to an object like flowing lava, nothing will happen. You just don't move forward, else you'll burn or else you'll die. In this case, though, sparks would start showing up from Mega Man to show, hey, you are dangerously close to all this lava. And there's little graphical things on there. There's like a sludge monster that will throw sludge on you, and all of a sudden you're covered in oil. Don't use your fire weapons if you're covered in oil. That's just a safety tip. And even a bunch of little guys. The yellow demon makes a reappearance, and it turns out the yellow demon has like little blobs of other yellow demons on there too. They put a lot of extra work into that thing. It is very difficult, especially with what was coming out from there. But yeah, Mega Man 9 came out, and it made headlines coming out because we don't think about it now, because what we have now is we have so many of these type of games that came out. But back then, the idea of someone making a game that was 8-bit that came out, like, I can honestly say the only one I can think of that was close to something like that was Cave Story, and that was about it.
Cave Story's so good, though.
It's an amazing game. But Cave Story is a Metroidvania, but the point being is that it's drawn and designed like it's a 16-bit game, though. An 8-bit stylish thing. But that was the only one I can honestly think of off the top of my head of a game like that came out in the modern days that had that same style. Now there's a whole list of those things that are like that. Mega Man is a genre of itself now at this point.
Jumping and shooting.
Jumping and shoot man.
Jump and shoot man.
Oddly enough, that's the one Mega Man game I have not played because I have not owned a Microsoft product in my entire life.
Mm.
So, collections aside, I buy the collections, I have them. I just have never gone back and played it. And just hearing the difficulty on it and the adjustments, I'm just like,
maybe I won't.
One day I'm gonna go play Legends again.
It's the same thing, right?
The better choice in my mind.
But yeah, so after this, though, you had Mega Man 10, which you don't hear much about that. I forgot that there was over 10 Mega Man games.
More than 10.
But there's more than 10 now, yeah. Mega Man 10 comes out in 2010, ironically enough. But you don't hear much about that because of what happens with 9. 9 was a weird one that came out of left field in that style. But by Mega Man 10, we have several games that are similar to Mega Man style games and such. So it kind of gets buried under the legacy it built for itself.
But it came out of left field too, if I remember correctly. People are just like, "Oh, what? We're back? Okay, oh, sweet."
If you had Mega Man 10, though, it had an interesting concept because it was a character select that you could do at the beginning of 10. So you can choose to be Mega Man. You could choose to be Proto, who played like Mega Man from Mega Man 1. So no bells and whistles. You are just running around with your Mega Buster and such, and you can use all the powers. You could also play as Proto Man, which took extra damage, however, had a shield so he could block other attacks and had the Mega Buster to charge and could use the slide. And if you bought the DLC or if you have it on the Legends collection, once you beat the game, you unlock this ability, which is to select base as what you want, who can shoot in 8 directions. And I think you can do some other stuff too, like jump wise. I'll be honest, never got around to unlocking base. I'm like, beat the game, I'm putting it down.
Well, it was also their opportunity to add DLC to the games.
Mm-hmm.
Microtransactions, we back,
Yep.
baby.
They did tone down the difficulty for 10 from 9.
And after 10, I think that at that point we're at 11, which just came out only a few years ago. 2018, Mega Man 11, and this one actually had 3D graphics for the entire engine. It looks interesting. But it came out for the PS4 and the Switch, so it's the first Mega Man game to come out for the Switch system, with its updated 3D graphics. And the weird thing is that if you watch the video of it, and I did this, it looks underwhelming. Like, it doesn't have the nostalgia look like it did, like 9 does, or it doesn't. And I was hoping for another X, but that's not happening apparently. It just looked underwhelming, and I didn't realize that at this point how many Mega Man like games have came out at this point.
Well, it was one of those things where you want it to reinvent the wheel. You want something new. You want something exciting, and you have to also. I looked it up to double check to be sure, because Mighty Number 9 came out 2 years before this.
Yeah,
and that's when Inafune came back. Forgive the pronunciation. And people are like, "What the fuck just happened?" Because Mighty Number 9 was like, "Oh, we tried to reinvent the wheel," and it was a game, for lack of a better term. And so when 11 came out, a lot of people were just like, "I don't know, I'm okay from here." And I mean, maybe that's just me, but it was you saw what happened with 9, Mighty Number 9 for that matter. 10 being what it was. It's like, hey, we did 11. Like, that's cool. What kind of chairman are we going to be fighting in this one? Is it going to be, what is the difference here? We've already done 11 iterations of this game. And now we have subsects that we appreciate more. We want Legends 3. That's never going to happen, unfortunately. Like, as much as again, Dane mentioned it, you print the money, just call it tomorrow. Like, I'll give me the DLC season pass. I'm in.
Yeah, even Battle Pass, I would do it.
Yeah, I'll spend my
veins.
Yeah, just
right there,
straight into it, dude. Give me another network. It feels like the Mega Man fans have kind of split into their areas, and it's not the but like the platformer jump and shoot that like we're used to or have wanted. And so with 11, I wasn't surprised that it wasn't, like you mentioned, it was underwhelming. Like, we've done this for 30 fucking years now.
They had to put a gimmick in it, which was the dual gear system.
The dual gear,
and I don't know, it adds something, but it also takes something away by...
Yep, exactly.
It's divisive.
Yeah. And so it's another piece of the Mega Man puzzle. Was it necessary? No. Did we ask for it? No. Is it there? Yes. And so
now that we're past to 11 on that one, the thing is, there's nothing wrong with Mega Man 11. It's just that its history, especially with Mighty Number 9 being what it is, and being... So I wasn't there for the hype train of Mighty Number 9, but I think it was very underwhelming when Mighty Number 9 came out.
Dude, that shit was a crowdsourced wet dream, and it fell short. That's what it was.
It almost
was like, we brought back the big guy. Here we go. Like, we're doing it again, and it was different. Like, I enjoyed that game. Did I love it? No, I enjoyed it. It did bring a breath to it that was different. And like, I play that game every year. It's quick, it's easy, it's a fun take on it. Instead of blowing things up, you can shoot it to a point, dash into it, and like, the movement of that game is super rad. And the bosses, again, the voice acting is fucking terrible, man. Like, it's like one of the things I just can't get over is like, can we just get an actual voice cast that cares and like enjoys what they're doing? It all sounds like they're being held at gunpoint. Like, stay the line, you're a helicopter. I'm like, oh, I'm a helicopter man. Like, it's one of those things. And so when 11 came out, it was like, cool. 9 did terrible, and we gave you millions to do it. You go back to what we're talking about, like whatever Mega Man it was that Nintendo took over the reins, back in the day. You have these resources, you can do the thing, and you're giving us the exact opposite. And so it's not that like hope is gone. it's certainly not there like it used to be, though. And so, and again, we haven't even gotten to like the X adaptations up to like 9, 8, and 9. You know, it 11 was there, and they were like, oh, let's tone it down because of what happened with 10. Mighty number 9 didn't do great, and so here's 11, and it was just like you mentioned, underwhelming for what is there. We've done this for 30 years now. Give me something.
I think Mighty Number 9 really could have benefited from fan feedback as the game was developed. Like, for example, like Bloodstained did for Koji Igarashi. That really worked out really well.
Absolutely.
Hades took a lot of lessons from its audience when it did all of its beta testing. Hades
also,
is amazing.
With your Mega Man Legends 3 on Christmas list, I've got that on my Christmas list as well, next to a new Legacy of Kain game.
Yes, give me the soul, give me the Reeve, baby.
But yeah, so this is a case where I think Mega Man 11 would have done better had Mighty Number 9 been better.
No, 100%. I would agree with that.
Well,
because Mighty Number 9 had the hype train like crazy, and what you got was
we're fucking back, baby.
And then all of a sudden, all you got is I made a game.
Yep. And as I've mentioned, I'm kind of a weird Mega Man fan anyway, and I recognize that. But like, I'm good on numbered Mega Man. I don't really feel like I got like 12 plus to choose from in the main series. I don't need a 13.
That's fair.
I'm good. You know, I don't know. They would really like Mighty Number 9 almost got me back into it, and I was like, okay, like let's see what this is about. Yeah, no, to be honest, like when the hype was coming out,
timing of it,
I was like, okay, like maybe I'll give this another shot, right? Like, I was kind of tired of the formula, but let's see what this he's coming back, he's gonna make this awesome game. Let's see how it is. And it came out, and I was just like, "Oh no, I'm all set." You good luck with that, though. Just didn't do it.
I should have swallowed.
Yeah.
Peace. I'm out. So here's the sort of at this point, I think we've gone through all the Mega Mans as quickly as we can for that one. So, kind of a final thoughts on this. Do I think Mega Man is a series that needs to have a sequel? I want to say both yes and no. On the one hand, we've gotten 15 of the 11 of these. Let's say 15 or so. However, I like knowing that there's a chance I could get another Mega Man later down the line.
Well, another thing to add to that is that if you really want to play more Mega Man, which another thing that Capcom really could have printed money with, but the fans beat them to it, and they don't seem to have an interest, is in the same vein as Mario Maker, there is a fan-made Mega Man Maker online.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You can make custom levels and share them.
Nice. That would. I'm surprised they didn't do
that
like, route.
As you said, you could print that. That's money in their pocket. I'm so surprised why there isn't a Mega Man Maker officially from Capcom, why there isn't a Zelda Maker. Like, it seems like one of those genres that, like, if you had a level-based system, a Castlevania Maker could have just
Nintendo Maker, just fucking blanket it all, dude.
Yeah, you just could have, like, literally charged $100 for that, and it would have been Donkey Kong Maker. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly.
I don't know. It just feels ridiculous that they haven't explored that space at all.
Maker, make your own make game.
Make your making while making your make.
I have two. RPG Maker?
Oh, go ahead. Yes, dude. I made computers. I bricked with that. Anyways, I have two pieces because we didn't touch on Power Battle at all, which got rid of all of the levels, and it was just the boss fights. Which, let's be real, when you're playing a Mega Man game, the thing that gets you all bricked up is when you touch that wall and it goes and you go through and you're like, shit, yeah, we're gonna fight the boss. Power battles, basic, whatever. It was basically the Mega Man fighter, but different. Give me another one of those, I'm in.
Yeah.
With like updated graphics or whatever. You keep it basic graphics. I don't care. But the final piece, and I'm gonna this is my hot take for the Mega Man ethos. Give me a Metroid Prime Mega Man.
Yeah.
First person shooter.
Count me in.
Give me that shit any day. I will spend whatever. I cannot stress enough. The first time I went into Metroid and was like, oh shit, it's first person.
Mm-hmm.
What is Metroid? What is Mega Man?
Yeah.
They're the same goddamn thing, just a smidgen different.
Yep.
Give
Mhm.
me a first person Mega Man. And Legends kind of touches on that because you
Yeah.
do have, when you scope down the arm, you can do that with some of the weapons, right?
Right.
Give me that.
I mean, hear me out. Mega Man Legends 3 could just be that if they didn't want to do like a
do it
if
already.
they didn't want to do like an over-the-shoulder third-person RPG.
Give me that. And so, like you see with like Metroid Other M and like some of the other Metroid, Prime Hunters, whatever, you had that. Give me that formula with the hunting for the upgrades, the Metroidvania style, anything of that caliber with the Mega Man skin. Here's my goddamn wallet, dude.
100%.
Just give it to me. And I don't think we'll see that. And that's unfortunate.
Mhm.
I think we'll get the copy paste cash grab with DLC buyables and whatever. But you put that shit in first person, it's over. It's over for me. 10,000 fold.
Very much so. If you get me a Mega Man that's also a Metroidvania, I'm sold.
Over.
Well, I will say that there is something that is somewhat close-ish. Not quite enough, but somewhat close, which is official, and that's the Mega Man ZX games. They have horrible map systems. At least the first one does.
Yeah.
But I thought that one was a really cool concept, but that's that'd be more closely related to Mega Man X related cast than a regular one.
Yep. No, I don't disagree. I think if that's the way it survives, is that.
There's
I wouldn't
also
be surprised.
There's also a roguelite I want to recommend, but that's also more Mega Man X like, and that's just 30XX.
Yeah,
That was fun. Yeah.
Yep.
I played that one.
30XX
I had
was
that one.
fucking great. And then what was the one that I was just playing recently? Gravity Circuit was another one that I was playing recently. That's very Mega Man-esque, but like more melee combat more than anything else. And so like you adjust your punches, kicks, your dives, and stuff like that. Like has that Mega Man 8-bit vibe, side scrolly to what we're classically attuned to. That was just a fresh take on it. And so it's there. It's got life. Like I want to believe. Yeah,
I don't think,
man, I need it. But
I don't think Mega Man itself is like a dead game. No, I think it just needs someone to breathe a little extra life on it instead of going straight for their cash grab. You don't need to change much, and you can make it all work.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been putting out
that would be
Mario
the
games
best way.
for forever, right?
Fucking ever, dude.
yeah.
We just got a new Mario Party fucking
And
this
not,
year.
not
Like,
all
what?
of them are winners, right? But like,
No.
Galaxy came out and people were like, hold on a minute. Reinvent some stuff. Try some new stuff. Try some new things.
What was it? It's that 4-player Mario game that came out recently. The one with where you could turn into an elephant for no reason.
4 Plumbers Adventures. No, wait.
4 Plumbers Adventures. Yeah.
Oh no, I know. Wonder.
Wonder.
That was it. Yeah.
Give it the Rayman treatment, you know?
And Rayman's Rabbing Rabbits teamed up
where
with
the
Mario
rabbits
at
at?
some point.
Mega Man Rabbids.
You know, just give me a new what was it, the RPG we were talking about? Mega Man RPG.
Battle Network?
Kainos.
The command mission.
Command missions.
Command
Give me fucking new
missions,
command
Mega
missions
Man
at this
mission.
point.
Yeah.
Like, just stop giving me fucking 8-bit platformers. Like, just fucking change it, please.
Or if you're gonna get an 8-bit platformer, just change around the style a little bit. An 8-bit platformer that's also Metroid Prime like. I think it's different. I'd try it.
My ass is gonna buy it regardless. So
Right.
fucking got me for life.
True.
Sorry. And then I'm just gonna bitch about it later.
I do find it a bit funny that like every game lover who has a title that's been around as long as Mega Man has, or even has a number of series another number of game titles under their belt. We all have that one thing where it's like, man, if this could just be like this, it'd be perfect. And I'm not saying we're wrong about that, but it's, I mean, how many people have I heard been like, if Pokemon made an MMO, or if Pokemon made a game that had all the regions in it, I would buy that in a heartbeat. And it's like, yeah, I mean, me too. But like, why are they not doing it? I don't know. Mega Man Legends 3 existed. That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Why are they not making it? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I just find it very interesting that it seems like on a long enough timeline, we all have that like white whale of like, oh, If this were the way it were, it would be better.
I can't wait to be in the geriatric nursing home and playing Mega Man Legends 3
Yeah.
in VR.
It'll just come out.
Just like,
It just came out. I'm playing it. I'm sold. But yeah, I honestly still have hope that a new Mega Man will come out and it'll live up to its hype. And I say this because Mega Man has done it at least 3 times. When Mega Man became Mega Man X, amazing. Mega Man went over to Mega Man Legends, amazing. And when Mega Man became Mega Man 9, again, it just hit the right time with the right stuff. So it can be done. Now, before I end this episode, I'm going to sort of ask, out of all the regular Mega Man games, what would be your favorite Mega Man? I know for me, and this is all nostalgia.
Regular
is
meaning
Mega Man
numbered
3.
Mega Man, no X, no Legends, no.
Yeah, just numbered. Because if I let you have any Mega Man, you go straight to Legends or X.
I'd probably go Battle Network, to be honest, but yeah, that's fair.
But to be fair, if I was going to go with all of them, I would. As much as my nostalgia goggles wants to say it's Mega Man 3 because I have a cool history with that one, I'd go X.
Yeah, like X is the one that got me in, but like if we're going numbered, it's 2. I mean, we spent a fucking hour just gushing about that game.
Oh, 2 is Legends. 2, if you were to play a Mega Man game, go with Mega Man 2.
Yeah, if we're going numbered, it's 2. If it's anything else, it's X. Like, just...
I'm going to go with Mega Man 3. That was my jam.
I love Mega Man 3. But 2 is like always, whenever I think I'm going to play a Mega Man game, 2 is like the first one that pops to mind.
Exactly.
Same.
Yeah. The Mega Pool just hit the fan. It's 2000X. And Wily's escaped. Sorry, I'm done. And made 8 more evil bats. I could sing that whole song.
You don't need to apologize. I'm here for it with you, man.
Yeah.
Where is that?
So you out there as the audience, let us know what your favorite Mega Man is. Is it 2 like everybody else, or not 2? Like, I'll be honest, it's just those options. 2 or not 2.
Or are you wrong?
I can't say wrong per se. I know people out there who like 4 is one of their favorites, and I get that.
Sure. Yeah, it's one of my favorites. Absolutely.
It's one, but yeah. But I think that's it. With that being said, our next episode will be available out on January 15th. I'll double check my dates on that one later. And thank you, Adam, for coming on to the show.
No, my pleasure. Thank you guys so much for having me.
No problem. Yep. And
It's been fun.
This is Gaming Theater Podcast logging out. Bye, everybody.
Whee! Oh, I'm late.
Yeah.
Gaming Theater Podcast is hosted, created, produced, and edited by Leo Garcia, the Geek Scorpio. Our music is A Drinking Game. Stock media provided by Stormwave Audio /Pond5. Our cover art is by Adam Parker. You can find him at ParkerGFX on Twitter. If you want to send us some money to help with these episodes, you can do so at patreon.com/gamingtheaterpresents. Want to send support that doesn't hit your wallet? Please leave a review with wherever you hear your podcasts and share our podcast with your friends. It really helps out. Thank you for listening.